You said
Okay, I've never seen this on YouTube before. I literally refreshed the dashboard and it says live streaming is not available right now. Have you ever seen that?
I had that once a couple days ago when I was trying to schedule a live stream. I just kept scheduling it until it worked.
Oh, and that worked?
I'm getting an ad.
It's me.
Why? Oh wait,
I'm getting the ad.
Million and 10 million and another.
That was the ad playing, right?
Yeah, 10 million and another million, and that's
the ad that I'm getting.
So I need to figure out. Give me a second, guys. Sorry we're running late. That's completely my fault. I woke up, couldn't breathe, so I had to get in a hot shower and clear out the pipes. I need to figure out why we're ducking David now, because we're not. This is weird, because I'm not ducking Houston, which is bizarre, because you guys are both coming in through Skype. So I don't know how one of you could be ducked and the other one couldn't, unless it's on your side. But David, we didn't have a ducking issue last time you were on, so I don't know. Did anything change?
Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm on this ATM mini thing now, right? So.
Okay.
But why would it duck on my end? It would stop. Why would it stop me from talking?
What's happening is, like, when audio is coming into your headphones, it's basically stopping your microphone from sending audio to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's not full duplex. It's like so if we're just quiet and you talk, it comes through perfectly clear. But the second either one of us talks, it just cuts you down to zero volume.
Well, that's weird. I don't know what would do that.
Yeah, we might have to do the old school, like, over. Be like,
you, Barnacules.
Let's see here. Default. Yeah, though the reason I hate this is because the tiny little timing differences throw stuff off, and then it doesn't want to work. So I'm just gonna look really quick, make sure that I have all my settings, so I'm not ducking anybody. Let me. Actually, here, let me check your setting.
I mean, I can switch to. I can go back to just a boring old USB camera. I don't know where I'll steal one off my son or something if you want.
No, or the mic maybe. I don't know.
The mic is. I mean, I can. Let me see if I do the mic. I'm on Skype.
Actually, AuxxZillary and David talk at the same time. I want to see if you duck.
Talk at the same time. I'm gonna talk and
yeah, you're completely ducking it.
Me.
Oh, we're both bouncing out. I'm bouncing out again.
Yeah, even if AuxxZillary talks, even though you guys are both coming in Skype, even when he talks, you duck. So that's why I think it's on your computer. Because even him. What?
What's NDI?
Oh, NDI is like what I'm using to take your video from Skype and put it into OBS Studio.
Oh, I see. So let's just say I can stop it at my end if I didn't want you to be doing that. I got you. Is there some setting I can do in Skype that would help?
That's what I'm looking here.
So if you go to your video and audio settings, under microphone, make sure the automatically adjust microphone settings is turned off.
Ah, there you go. How's that?
That'll help.
Better.
I think that's one of a few things that we've tried. So
I am no longer automatically adjusting microphone settings.
Okay. And then, so I'll talk and then you talk and then we'll talk together and then hopefully you're not. So yeah, you're a little quieter on my side too. So like,
yeah, it's still doing the ducking.
Okay.
Goose.
Incoming calls. No, nothing there. Speakers. No.
Is this a Windows machine that you're on, David?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is the evil Apple empire. Look, okay. I could switch it. Let me see if this works. Let me see if I go to like. Can you still hear me now?
I hear you now.
Okay, you can still hear me now. Now, does that help your ducking at all?
Oh, actually, I think so.
Together?
Yeah, we're going to talk this. It didn't quiet for me. Yeah.
Here, let me try it. Let me try it. Just make a constant tone.
That was
check. Yes. Yes, it's working. It's working.
We fail to get this to work next time.
What did you do?
This idiot Hewlett that it should not be on Blackmagic. It should not be on the ATM Mini. It should be on the H4. Actually, straight through the Zoom recorder.
Oh, that's the same thing. AuxxZillary, that's the same thing you did last week, wasn't? Didn't we have to switch the audio device where your mic was like direct instead of going through your mixer board?
I think, in part, yeah. It was, yeah.
So there must be something happening. The system must be doing it for us.
Yeah.
Through Skype somehow or something.
Yeah, Windows likes doing that. Windows likes just magically moving your audio devices around at its own will.
It's a magical Windows.
It's a magical Windows.
It's a musical journey.
Hey, thank you, Robert, for the $25 super chat. Here for awesome. What's with the gray stack?
Oh, I know. Look at it. It's like I feel like very soon will come a December where I will be playing Santa Claus.
Are you done shooting now? Like, do you still got to keep the stash?
This endless. It's not endless. It's great. Thank God. Fingers crossed. The payments coming in, checks in the account. No, I finished the movie, but I'm still working on the series, which is like a six. It's like a 6-part ongoing miniseries thing. So I'm in all these eepisodes. So I pop in once in a while. I stood in a field. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this. Well, it won't mean anything. I stood in a field as people set gasoline on fire and threw straw in the air.
That's pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's great, except that I'm also like a total asthmatic.
Oh no!
Oh,
And I'm so allergic to hay, like so allergic to hay. So all of a sudden, their potential villain is like sneezing, and he's got big red eyes, and I'm like, the worst villain ever.
they have to hire you to hit you with Benadryl. There's a guy out there just spraying you down.
The reality is I never play true villains anymore. I always play like bad villains, like villains who aren't good at being villains anymore, like the ones who like they might be the bad guy. Oh no, they fell down the stairs and hurt themselves. No, it's not them. That's me. That's basically what I do.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, I think we've almost resolved our technical issues. People are still wandering. Did everybody tweet out the stream?
Yeah,
I did. But
so let me see. Do we have a We're Live now?
oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of my son. I got him he was his birthday this weekend, and this month apparently. But this week was his birthday, and we got him one of these stream decks.
Ooh, I love them. Love
He
them.
wouldn't let me build one. No surprise. He wanted a new, sleek, cool one, but I am so jealous because he's just doing all sorts of neat little things.
It's
like
actually my
things like-
favorite peripheral, like in the world. Like other than the keyboard and mouse, that is my
Yeah.
next peripheral, like all day long.
I was telling him, I said, like, the first thing you should set up is just a series of windows with him with work-like stuff on it. So that when I come in, he could just go, doop, hit the button, and automatically he pulls up all his homework. He's like, oh, it's good.
I used to use, in Microsoft, we used to just use the WinD trick. You know, Windows key D just goes to desktop, drops the desktop like instantly.
Right.
So anytime something was coming, like, you know, if I was up here and, you know, having a little me time and I heard the wife like messing with the door handle, be like, Windows key D, and then just act cool. Is that cool? Nothing going on here.
Nothing going on here. Yeah, boy, it's hot in here. Yeah, that's
Good times.
So that's basically I'm sort of giving Baz a little bit of background on this stuff, so that when that time comes, he'll know, and I don't have to see it. Anyways,
Yeah, I know. We're drifting into fun territory. Well, my son's my son's almost 11 years old now. So, and I know it's like 11 to 13. That's like the time where, you know, nature starts taking its course a little bit, and you're like, kid, you sound a little your voice sounds a little deeper today. You know what's going on? So
yeah, but don't mention it. My God.
Oh, really? Is that a sore point?
Well, I don't know. For a precious little lad growing up, it was for me. I was mortified whenever my parents brought up anything that might relate to me actually growing up. And then my son seems to be much the same. He doesn't want to hear. what's that on the top lip there? He's like, no, shut up, Dad.
I sounded like my mom until I was like 16 years old, and it drove me nuts. I'd answer the phone at the house, and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Missy, how's it going?" It's like, "No, this is Junior." And I get so bent out of shape. So it's like the second my voice started cracking, I was like so happy. Like everybody else was so embarrassed. I'm like, "Hi, how's it?" I'm like, "Yes."
Dude, add the 80s to that. Like, and I was walking around with like a giant like blonde-haired mullet. I was like all of our family photos look like album covers, except for a female band. So I was always like, "Oh, you are just the most beautiful girls."
So did you have the skinny jeans on and everything too?
Oh God, I had the white jeans, I had the skinny jeans, I had the blue hair and the pink hair and the frosting tips, all that stuff. Oh man, the 80s were truly unkind to me.
That's legendary.
That's why I try to tell Baz, I'm like, look, you know, you do whatever you want to do, just know that people have photos.
Yeah, right.
That's the truth, and everything
forever.
on the internet lives forever, and that is absolutely true. I still have things like creeping up every once in a while that like I don't even remember.
Well, then if you're acting, forget.
I'm fighting AuxxZillary here. He's like trying to keep a sign in, and I'm like moving it. I'm actually trying to shrink it down so that I can get it in there. For some reason, are you zoomed in a lot on your camera, or?
I am now.
Here, no, zoom.
Oh, that's right. I should be focused on my mustache. Wait, let me just make sure my mustache is perfectly focused. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tom Selleck would be so proud right now.
I just want to make sure you want to make sure you get every follicle of all of this. Like, look at this. That is magnificent,
dude. That is a specimen right there. Let me tell you.
You could just basically just put a camera on that 24 hours a day, and that's the channel I'd watch right there.
You could literally play the villain on Sonic the Hedgehog. Like you could.
Well, and he could also be the set of a science fiction movie. Like,
Good. He
put that in
totally
the
could.
background. Yeah, that's it. That's like, what is this forest? There you go.
All right, let's see. I'm still playing around with just a couple of the technicals here. Let's see. David, is that even you?
So
yeah, that's you. Yes.
So this space for rent, Aux, is this like a side gig for you? This is what you do? Like what do you see happening there? I'm curious because I'm looking for all ways I want to know how to monetize this stuff too. Right?
This is a great topic. We get a lot of questions.
It had started out as kind of a joke on a previous when I was still in my old house, and I had.
I mean, like last week.
Yeah, just about. No, so my previous house, even before that one. I used to have a thing on the wall because it was just like a blank wall on my right hand side, and so I hung a piece of cardboard wrapped in green material for my streams, and I thought it'd be funny to just like chroma key it out, and I'd put somebody's website or whatever they wanted in that space, and then it became just like a piece of paper hanging on the side for when we were doing TechTalk. I've had the original joke. People actually reached out to me on Twitter and were like, "Hey, I'll pay you to shout out my website or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, let me see your website first, because I'm not gonna endorse something that is weird or creepy."
Which I've done before accidentally.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, Pup Shepherd, remember?
What was it?
Okay, just a real quick aside, and then take. So, and he's still here. He's probably in chat right now. He shows up to the stream all the time. His name is Pup Shepherd, and he was a big supporter of the channel. Always tipped a bunch. He was VIP, and then I just get a shirt in the mail from him, and it's I think it said Pup Shepherd, and it was his Twitter or something, and then it was a silhouette of something I couldn't quite make out. It looked like a dog, but it turned out later on that it was actually a dude in a leather dog mask. And so then people started going to the little URL thing that was on the shirt, and they started in chat, "Oh my God, you got to take that shirt off. You got to get rid of him." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I go over to Twitter, and it's literally just an entire Twitter feed of adult fetish photos of dudes in leather pup suits doing what pups do.
Sure there's good money in that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I was like, wow. I was like, okay. And so I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, thanks for sending me the shirt and everything, but I can't wear that on stream again." He kind of laughed, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know. It's just cool to see it."
So hard to explain
on stream.
to the kid.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, if you want to send me the bondage stuff, there you go. Now we're talking. But the
that on stream.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit of a weird one. So yeah, make sure you vet things before. If you don't understand them, chances are somebody else will. So yeah.
Well, and you could see, you see how some of these, the celebrity endorsement stuff can get themselves in a bit of trouble as well. Can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Start, not doing the due diligence on it and just taking the $1 million check.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to think of in recent memory, one that was really bad. It wasn't Paris Hilton. Oh God, it'll pop into my head sometime.
Weren't there?
But no, I saw one where they were basically endorsed. Oh, I think this was back when they were doing the Omaze thing. You've heard of that company, Omaze?
Yeah.
So a bunch of celebrities were picking up on that. Oh, it's like giveaway. They're supposed to be a charity. They give a bunch of money to charity, but it turns out it's just a big gambling site.
Oh, geez.
I know Cletus McFarlane, he got in trouble for doing Omaze because they just paid really well. And it's for $5 you can buy a raffle ticket and some of the money goes towards charity and you could win this Lamborghini Diablo. And it's every day they're giving away a new car. And it turned out that they ended up having a really bad reputation. So, but everybody was just grabbing them, right? And picking them up and running with them as a sponsor because they paid so well. And so now what you need to do is when you see a sponsor and they're paying 3 times as much as the next guy, you need to go wonder why, right?
You got to know why they're, yeah.
Exactly. And that happens quite a bit. I remember back when I used to take sponsors, and I still will at some point. Well, no, I still would. I just haven't been actively seeking them for a long time. Just kind of been doing my thing. I don't like doing sponsorships unless I'm really deep in and working really hard. I don't want to do it if I'm just doing talking head videos and stuff like that. But live stream sponsors, we've rolled around looking for sponsors, and we've had a couple little nibbles and stuff on the show. Because live stream sponsors are nice to have, right? Like Tech Bandits. Look down there. We got a sponsorship down there. We got an A-list celebrity that comes on here. And
I've got sponsorship written all over me.
Yeah, you see that ad right there down there that we're running on the stream? Well, that ad right there actually pays for David to come on here. That's actually so see that's
really? Really? I'm waiting for that check to clear. Yeah. Or even just to show up.
So are we.
Exactly. What's a check? Oh my gosh. But yeah, you have to be careful and like vet stuff. Like the Raid Shadow Legends stuff's like completely out of control now. But what I think's funny is Raid Shadow Legends actually did something that was kind of smart. What they did is they went from being an advertisement that required absolute scripting. Like they literally required you to say exact talking points, even if you didn't know what you were talking about. Like, oh, Raid Shadow Legends, get your legend and triple your gold and blah, blah. And it's like, you have no idea what you're saying. It's just in the script. So you started noticing that all of these channels were saying the same things over and over again. And so you'd start to realize it was scripted, right? So you're like, and scripted ads usually don't do nearly as good once people are onto them because they're like, dude, you're endorsing something you don't even know what it is. Right. And so anyways, Raid Shadow Legends got like completely shit on. So then they went the full send the other direction and they're like, you know what? We're just going to let people say whatever they want, even if it's bad, because even bad publicity is good publicity. So then all the sponsors start coming out. And they're like, today's episode sponsored by, you guessed it, Raid Shadow Legends. Oh my God, this game that, you know, eats all your time and eats all your money is a piece of crap. It has more money than God. And we can't get away from them because the pay is just too damn good. Raid Shadow Legends, download it today. And you're like, okay, wow, truth in advertising.
But that for the mobile games now, that's the only way that's how you stand out, right? You just spend a ton of money up front on endorsements and stuff, and then you're in the hopes of they had like freaking Schwarzenegger doing, tank warfare or whatever the hell it was.
Right? Yeah, or what was that model lady, the absolute gorgeous model lady that did the was it like World of Tanks or something like that?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. She did the the Carl's Jr. commercials for a bit too.
Yeah. What was her name? The one that like she's like a princess or whatever in the video, and she's talking about the game, and then she's like in a hot tub or something with like a goblet. And I was like, holy crap! Like how the hell are they paying these people to do ads for like a little game on a cell phone? But it's super lucrative. I mean, Raid Shadow Legends has like a largest marketing budget I've ever seen from anybody.
Who's behind it?
It's
another 10 cent.
It's somewhat, but it's a company. I believe they're based out of Nevada, and they make slot machines, like video slot machines.
Well, and it's one of the things we talked about on Tech Bandits actually this week. Well, a little bit. We didn't get that far, but was the whole microtransaction thing, because it's that new game Genshin Impact, which is getting great reviews, but it's all microtransactions and loot boxes again, right? So it's purely gambling, basically.
Yeah. I feel like everybody's going that way.
Well, it sort of makes sense because it makes money. Like people do it. People spend money on it. And this game, as opposed to other games, apparently is quite a nicely put together game. It's not just about the microtransactions. It's actually quite well designed as well. What do they call it? Waifu of the wild or whatever it is. It's basically just like a female. It's like a female Zelda thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't think I've even seen this one.
Yeah. Believe me, this is the bleeding edge of 14-year-old entertainment.
Right. Yeah.
I got my finger on the pulse.
The first game that I saw that seemed like it was the best at separating people from their money was Clash of Clans. So,
oh my God. I admit.
Have you played it?
It had me. Oh, it had me.
Oh no.
I had to step away. I have my own clan. I have the Geek Clan.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's gone on without me. Like it's it like does battles and stuff. Sorry, I cut you off. Go.
No, so my friend Greg, he spent over $10,000 on Clash of Clans. Yikes. And what it does is it like you kick somebody's ass and then they get mad and they spend like $5, buy some stuff and come back and kick your ass, and then you spend $10 and kick their ass, and it becomes like a personal battle at that point.
It's pay to win.
It's totally pay to win. Like there's like very like as my friend, he insists that there's strategy involved too, but I'm like, there's no way, dude. There's no strategy.
As much money as you can.
Yeah, every time you lose, you're buying stuff. So much money. Oh my God. Hey, Neota, thank you for the $10. He said, what's the reason to monitor your voice audio loopback when using a mixing board during a live stream? Love the new feedback. Keep up the good work. Tech Talk for the win. Well, I like monitoring my audio on the feedback because it helps me control the volume of my voice better.
Yeah.
And it also helps helps me to hear exactly what the ambient sound is like going through the microphone so that I can adjust filters and stuff like that to cut out the background noise. Whereas I can't do that when I'm not wearing a headset. And when I find when I don't wear a headset, I yell a lot louder too, because I can turn up the volume in my headset and it naturally lowers my voice. Whereas without the headset, I just scream at it. Yeah. What are you using for a microphone, David?
What was that?
What are you using for a microphone there?
I've got some fancy thing that I bought to do filmmaking ages ago. I've got the Zoom recorder, which I love. This H4N.
Those are cool.
It's just an ancient old one. I've dropped it like 50 times. My dogs chewed it. My sons chewed it. It's been around forever. but I use it now. I didn't even realize this. You plug it into the USB and you get yourself a little. It'll allow you to put the XLR mics in through the USB port. So
yeah, I love the Zoom. The Zoom audio
God,
interface is great. Yeah.
Well, I was going to go buy one of those Scarlett things during the pandemic because I have the odd voiceover thing to do, and but I just use this now.
Yeah, it works great.
As a matter of fact, the mic. I'll tell you what the mic is. Let me tell you.
It looks like a Rode. Is that a Rode?
There is a Rode. I do have a USB Rode somewhere, but but no, this is a fancy one. Let me see. I'm gonna make a horrible.
I want to see this microphone.
It's made in Japan. That's all I've got.
Right.
Because I'm using a Rode. I'm using a Rode NT1. AuxxZillary is using an AT2050 Audio Technica, and so these are both like broadcast mics. And then what David's using is a shotgun mic.
Yeah, this is an AZDEN.
Oh, there you go.
AZDEN.
Oh, I don't
So it's like
AZDEN's good. I had a shotgun mic at work by them. Yeah.
I really, really like it. I gotta say, it's just the sound is just something. You know, I love the Rode USB was great too, but there you go. I just found that for some reason with the ATM Mini Pro, it just preferred the Zoom input to the USB one.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys are looking for like a good audio interface for like XLR, those Zooms are awesome because you can buy the low end one. There's a low end one, a medium one, and then like a 6-channel like super high end one. And
I got the cheap ass one.
Yeah, all of them have an XLR. All of them have USB. You plug them into a computer. Doesn't matter Mac, Linux, or Windows. It'll just automatically detect as a generic audio device, and it'll record audio, and it'll do an audio loop back to your headphones too.
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's absolutely. It's like I can't believe it's been sitting in a box, waiting to do short films or whatever, and I haven't been using it or this mic, and then all of a sudden, because of this ATM Mini thing, I've started using it again. I just love it. I love the sound too. There's just something about it. There's something about the shotguns that just gives this kind of a, I don't know. It adds a weight to my voice that I certainly don't have. I mean, I've got the weight, just not the voice. So
yeah, they sound good. And the closer you get, if you speak softly and get really close, then you get like this really rich bass.
I can get some really nice ASMR stuff going.
You know? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I got my bass turned up though, so I'm cheating.
You can get that. Yeah, that's it. There's my mustache right there. Oh yeah, it's a mustache and beard duet.
This is what I sound like with no bass. So this is with the bass turned down.
Jeez, that's like old school radio,
isn't it? Though it's like old school radio.
Your authority.
Yep.
Like all of your authority is suddenly gone.
So this is no mid. So this is what I sound like with the mid chopped out. So this would be my normal audio range. You can probably barely hear me, huh?
That's not bad.
So if I put it right in the middle, so this is probably here. I'll show you what I sound like naturally. So this is with no mixer board. So this is what I sound like, no mixer board, just straight into the microphone. And this is a very very flat microphone. So this is what I probably would sound like in real life if you're around me. But I like to go in and punch in a little bass. Oh, what microphone?
Yeah,
this is a Rode NT1.
Nice.
They're really nice. I love them. And then what I usually do is I just punch up a little bit of treble and a lot more bass. Then I'm like, hey, how's it going, ladies? Yeah, it's good.
And all of a sudden you're like the wolf man.
Yep. And then if I want, I got this. If I need a shotgun mic for like, moving around the room and I need something that can pick up at a distance.
Nope, he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
There we go.
Wants to move around at a distance, you can't hear him.
So now this is the shotgun mic. So now I can get up there and be like, hey, how's it going? This is really bassy. Oh,
wow, that's really.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and this is designed so you can, it's supposed to be in line. It's not supposed to be pointed at your face. It's like supposed to be in line with your voice, like this. So I could technically have it like mounted down here where you wouldn't even see it.
That's
like
the same for this one, right? I'm supposed to be sort of
exactly. Yeah, you want to talk into the line, and you want to make sure it's pointed into something that's dead, so that you don't get any echo. Like it cuts out so much of the background noise though. Like I don't hear my AC or anything at all. But then if I aim it at the AC. I don't know if that's subtle enough of a difference, but it's like super directional.
Hear it, yeah.
Because it's like, hey, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me now? This is really cool. You got to point it right on my face, otherwise it doesn't work. Even if I put it up here and point it, it doesn't work unless I put it right on my face. So it's like super near field. And then I've got where's the other one? I got another cool little microphone here. This one I don't use that much, but this is a Hypercardioid Audio Technica, and this little guy right here. This one sounds really good.
I want to get. I like the idea of a lav. I want one of those ones.
Oh, sure.
Clip onto your clothing, put a pack on, and then your remote. That's what I want.
As a matter of fact, I'm testing right now. Rode sent me a couple of their new. Gosh, this thing sounds so good. This is a great microphone to take to like conventions and stuff and use as an interview mic because it's complete off-axis rejection. So it's got to be like right in your field. It takes out all the background noise, but you still get all the fidelity of like a big broadcast microphone.
Yeah,
well, that's great.
Isn't that cool? So I could even I could hang this from the ceiling like right above me if I had a long enough cable and it would just like dangle right here, and then I could like but again it sucks when you go off axis.
Rumble.
Yeah, you ready to rumble? But then I don't have a pop filter either, so it's like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, I don't have a pop filter either.
How many people am I making cringe right now by like unplugging and replugging a hot phantom power cable into microphones? It makes them rage, dude.
I'm so deaf now, anyways. There
we go. Now we're back to the regular.
It is amazing what a difference the sound makes. Like it's one of the things I go on about with I've done a bunch of like the question I get a lot is like how do you get into acting, demo reels, all that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, if you're gonna like make your own stuff, absolutely film your own stuff, but honestly spend all your money on the sound.
Yeah,
because the sound is like you just have to have good sound.
I actually believe it's more important than video, and like depending on what you're doing. But if you're doing anything that's just a lot of talking, like the video doesn't even matter. Like I've done videos where the video is amazing, where I'm shooting on location, doing drone shots, cool transitions and all that, but the audio just sucked because of wind and distortion and bad mic placement. And then I've had videos where it's just a talking head video with like a mediocre webcam, but I just have really rich audio from like a really nice lav mic, and the reception of the video is so much better.
It makes a huge difference. There's a better connection. It's just it's the same thing with film as well. They always say that with film that it's that a big part of it is getting good audio, especially on the day too, because you can often tell when you have to re-record stuff later. It just doesn't have the same. I don't know. There's a magic involved somewhere, I guess. Or maybe it's just talent.
Yeah,
talent.
I've heard that saying before. Like it's like 70% of any video is the audio. Like I would agree. You can film it in 720p and like be all sketched out and weird, but if the audio is crisp, then it'll be a success.
Yeah, I think we underestimate how much of that we actually use.
Yeah.
Also, everyone hates their own voice. That's the other thing I noticed as well. Everyone's like, "Oh, I hate my own voice." It's like, yeah, well, just get a good mic.
Hey, I love my voice, man.
Yeah,
I got a sexy voice.
I can hear myself talk all the time,
and I do. I'm trying to find my little Rode mic because I want to show you guys this. The new Rode lav mics are insane. How small they are. Because I hate messing with lav packs because like this is my old lav mic.
Are they wired or not wired?
These are wireless. Yeah, these are wireless. So this one right here is a Sennheiser. I want to say it's about. Let me see. Has it got any battery in it?
It's like they're thousands of dollars.
They're expensive. Yeah, this set for a receiver and a broadcaster, I want to say it's like $450, $500. But Rode just made one not too long ago. They finally were able to send me a sample. I'll find it during a break later, but it's called a Wireless Go. You can go look it up. And the cool thing about it is the entire transmitter, microphone, and everything are built into a little wafer that's this big. And it's got a magnet. And you just put a magnet on the backside of your shirt and you just clamp it through the magnet. Kind of like your little shield device on Stargate. And it does everything, and it's a fantastic sounding microphone, and that's all there is to it.
Just like $250, $270.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like here, actually, I see it. Hold on, I know where it is.
I'm in. That's the next Tech Bandits purchase right there.
There you go.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah.
That's great because that's one of my biggest issues. Is like I want to be able to just wander around.
Yeah, but it's super helpful. One thing I have noticed with lavs though is you often have to boost the gain like after the fact. They can be kind of quiet. But I mean that's part of mixing and the post part of it at least.
Right.
But I'm sure it varies depending on the quality of the product and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, no, I've been so shocked at how expensive the whole lav thing has been. I've always thought everyone always recommends the Sennheiser, but they're just
expensive. Sennheiser makes really good stuff, but it's silly expensive for what it is. So these guys, these are the new little Wireless Goes. So here I'll show you on your guys' little camera right there. Oh, wow, that's it. This one goes to the camera, this one goes to you, or vice versa.
Jeez.
And so they're ultra tiny. And
what's the range?
I haven't done a full range test on it, but I was able to get 30 feet away, no problem.
Wow.
I mean, that's Bluetooth at least.
So, okay, so this is the receiver. So this is the one that would, and you can adjust the dB on it and link and high pass filter all built into it. And then this, what I like about this, it's just got a magnet that's sitting somewhere on my disorganized desk right now. But you basically just put the magnet behind your shirt and you clip it and it'll just be like this. So you can put it absolutely anywhere you want. You don't have to fuss with those little clips and wear like a shirt, you know.
Wait, so that is the mic as well?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's the mic, and it even has these little things that you can clip onto it like this if you want a wind filter for being outside.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
No, it's great. It's like they designed it for like vloggers and stuff on the road. So you just got a little dead cat that sits on top of it, and then you just like if you don't want to use the magnets, you can just use a clip. It's just got a little clip, so you just clip it like that, and that's your whole microphone, and you're good to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Does it have an input for another microphone if you want to?
Yes, it does support
like 3.5 mil or something.
Yeah, you can take like a regular like lavalier mic if you want to put the pack down like lower and you want a regular one.
That's great.
And it does sound a little bit better. You just plug that in and then you put the pack anywhere you want, and then you'd have a conventional little lav.
I was just thinking if you were filming something and you didn't want to notice that there was a mic, that would be cool.
So then it works just like a regular lav pack. So
see, I'm so jealous of kids now. You could go and make movies for like nothing now.
Yeah,
you get $1,000 and you're kitted out with like everything you could possibly need to make a movie.
And the reason they designed this was for cameras like this, because now you can take one of the new like Sony RX Mark 7s, RX 100 Mark 7s, like this big that can shoot 4K cinematic video, has a sensor that's better than my $3,000 cinema camera, and then you just get the little jig or whatever, and then this just sits on the top, and that's your entire mic rig. Like the transmitter and everything's all built into a tiny little thing that fits in your pocket.
Does that have HDMI out? Can you use can you plug that in as an HDMI camera?
You can.
Yeah. It's a mini,
and it's beautiful.
Or super micro. It's like tiny little one. But yeah. I have the Mark III, I think.
So I have the Mark. I have a Mark III and I have a Mark 7 that Adam gave me back in the day.
Expensive.
They are very expensive. They're
even
not.
Today, the Mark III I think is still selling for like $800.
It's pretty nuts. Yeah, the money that man.
It's a super super good camera. Like I know pro YouTubers and stuff who still use like the Mark III for B-roll and whatnot, and then use the the fancy one that just came out with the side folding out the vlogger one that Sony just put out.
The Sony one. Yeah. So I want that because I've had the NEX for like 100 years now. This NEX 6, which is what I'm using now, but it's it's pretty flat. It's like just HD or whatever it is. But I love the camera. Like it's just this bulletproof little camera that I've had forever.
Yeah, the RX 100 will kick this thing's ass. So this is a PWX Z90V that's got like built-in neutral density filters and all kinds of video processing. Does 4K 30
on it.
Huh?
He's got like a reflex sight built on there.
Yeah, you got to be able to aim it, dude. Be like,
this thing kind of Fortnite. Jeez,
a little bit. Yeah, so you can get that shot right without opening up the screen and burning more battery. But it's got a full audio interface built into it. Basically, this is like a cinema camera you would like shoot a video with, right? Yeah. But I still use the RX more than this camera by like a lot, because all I have to do is plug it into a USB battery pack if I want to shoot longer than say like 20-30 minutes, because the battery life sucks on it. So, but the neat thing is I just plug it into like a USB battery pack. I put a wireless lav pack on it and I get 4K 30 or 1080 60, and it's like perfect. The video quality on it is perfect. It actually looks better than back when I had a DSLR with actual like L glass lenses on it and stuff. Somehow this just kicks the shit out of that. So it's pretty amazing. I'd recommend it.
What is the brand again?
It's called a Sony RX 100. And then there's a Mark 1 through Mark 7. They might even be up to Mark 8 now. But the Mark 7 is my latest one, and that one has an external audio input, so you can plug in a lav mic. Yeah. Because the internal mics on them are good. Like if you're just vlogging and stuff like that, the internal mic is fantastic on these things. But you plug in a lav, and it's a whole different thing. Like you could shoot any shot. Like there's no shot that you couldn't shoot with this thing. Like it's got such a good zoom range. It can go from really wide to just like really punched in, like 10x zoom. It's optically stabilized, not digitally stabilized, so it's actually moving the little sensor around in there and stuff, so you get stabilization. It's really nice. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
And that's what you're streaming with right now?
No, right now I'm using the old Sony FDR AX33 Handycam. It's what you're seeing me on right now. These things, I wish I had the cable. I'd just swap it over and show you. Oh, actually, wait a second. Does that use the same cable? I think it does. Here, hold on a second. You guys talk amongst each other. Let me go grab the camera. The RX-7. I think I can actually just plug that into it, and you can see the difference. It looks way better than this. Yeah. Like it's night and day.
The FX33 though is still pretty super fresh.
Oh, dude, it's better than any webcam you'll ever get.
Because I have 3 of them for work, and they're really nice. Yeah.
They're expensive, but they're worth the money. They are really worth the money.
They're a little expensive for a handy cam, for like a video camera. I think it's like $8 or $8.50 right now. That's pretty decent price for a really, really good like video camera.
Let me see. An X33 you should be able to get way cheaper than that.
That was like a year ago. What work paid for them?
Man, these things are still really expensive. Holy cow!
Because they're still a really good camera. Like you could jump up to the what is it? What are they at now? Like the 83, I think, is the newest one for $1,500 or something crazy.
Yeah,
but I don't feel like you're getting your value for your dollar. The 33 is still amazing. Like I have one just right here behind me.
Yep. I had a 53, which is the upgrade to that, and it had better low light handling because it had a larger aperture, but everything else was the same. Like there was no really, like sometimes I grabbed the 33 by mistake and not even realize it.
I mean, the weird thing I find about Sony is they've got very unintuitive menus. That's the only thing I don't like about it. It can do everything. But
I'm always feeling around with the camera, the point and shoot, and I'm still trying to figure out where everything is.
Their menus do suck.
And here's the other thing is, like, DSLRs are all very good and well, but the reality is if you're just using them for video, it's worth considering video cameras because they're designed for continuous operation and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It makes a big difference. What's that recording to? Just to
SD?
Regular SD cards? Yeah.
This.
Wow, the AX53 is still selling for like over $1,000. That's crazy. I bought my 53 probably 4 years ago, and I want to say I paid about like maybe a little bit more, like $1,500, and I broke it. I dropped it at a charity event and broke it, so it's in a bag full of parts now. But I still got the AX33
micro.
Oh, you got a little HDMI out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, that camera he's holding right there is what I'm shooting on right now. Like the video that you see of me is coming through that little HDMI port on mine.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic, and they're image stabilized too. They have a really slick image stabilization system.
Because it's like physical gimbal in there.
Yeah, there's like it's just like in an oil in a little oil puddle or something, isn't it? It's got like some kind of a system that allows it to float.
Yeah, you can actually see it like wiggling inside the frame.
I call it the Eye of Sauron because it literally just looks around like an eyeball. And it's really good image stabilization. Like it's better than you'd get on a GoPro. Well, at least an older GoPro. I think the new GoPros have some crazy digital stabilization that's like untouchable by anybody.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I've got what do I have? The 8.
Oh, the 8 is amazing. Yes,
I can't remember what 7 or 8, one of the two, and I couldn't get over the quality's unbelievable. Like I was wondering about going to those, like grabbing the 9 because that could be a webcam now as well, right? They've got
actually the 8 should be able to be a webcam too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm using like I think if I can wait a second, see if I screw this up.
Yeah, look at the ports on the side.
But look at this. I can go to that.
Oh, we can see your outdoors.
So then you've got that's my GoPro. That's the GoPro camera.
Who's that guy? Who's the guy taking that bike next to the shed there?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, who's the guy pissing at the side of the? Yeah, there you go. I've got them all on Y's camera now. There you go. I think that does it. But for me, like that, I'm such a nerd. Like this is like it's like having a cable television studio.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like you could do everything with this thing. It's amazing. But now I want better HDMI cameras now. But I was wondering about just getting a bunch of GoPros because you got great wide angle, you've got image stabilization. They're just a little bit. I find they're a little bit unreliable with the streaming stuff. Sometimes they just decide they're done.
So I used GoPro Hero 4s, which I think you can get pretty cheap now. The GoPro Hero 4s produce a better video signal than this AX33. What? If you take a Hero 4 Black and you plug it in through HDMI, it looks you have to crop it in a little bit because I think it's a 5K sensor, and so then you get the super wide angle, and then you basically just crop the center out, and then you get rid of all those distortion effects at the edges and everything like that. And I used it for my Dexter arm. So my Dexter arm camera, when I moved around, that was a GoPro Hero because that was the only payload the old one could carry. So I just had that thing on there with a little USB battery pack, and it'd go for like 3-4 hours being a fantastic webcam. Like people used to say that it looked better than this one, like sharper than this one, and better
We
color.
got to talk to them again. We haven't talked to them for ages.
Yeah, we got to get on a call with them. Yeah, they message me all the time. I talk to Todd like every couple of days on the phone. So.
Oh, really? Because we were like once a week for a while. They're having these little like geek out sessions, and then I don't know. I probably dropped the ball.
No, let me know when you're free, man. They always want to geek out. Like just you let me know next time. We'll even get us all on camera too, which would be cool.
Yeah, that's just a good idea. That helps them out too, because I love what they're doing. I mean, my dream is that one day we'll have like a little one of the Dexter Studio, like little mini industry. They create these little basically DIY factories, robotic factories. I thought it'd just be kind of fun to have one and have the kids come in and just figure out how to automate stuff. Like, what are you gonna automate today?
Cool. That'll be fun.
Well, they definitely want to get us arms.
Gathering cards.
Like he said like 2 months, depending on because he wants to get us over there. He wants to get us down there. So we have to figure out how to like safely, I don't know, wear respirators on the airplane or something like that, or I don't know, even road trip it or something.
We can't leave. We're not allowed to leave now, right? Because Toronto's just headed back into whatever it is.
Oh, are you guys locked down 2.0 again?
Yeah, we're back to 2. Yeah.
Well, let me talk to Todd because I think that ideally he wanted us to come to the studio and like build them because he thought that'd be like a really fun thing to do.
Oh my God, I'd love to. Well, they even have a package, don't they, where you can actually buy to go down and have them.
Yeah.
You build it with them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go down there and just go into the factory and build your own arm and take it home with you. Like so,
Yeah, that'd
and
be cool.
Super highly capable too. So.
Yeah.
But let me talk. Let's get on a call with him and talk to him because if I can get him to send us out a couple of arms just to start playing with, then once all this opens up and you know the COVID is over, then we can basically just head back down there and then we can actually like shoot some videos. And I think that'd be better anyways because then we'd have more experience on the new platform. And,
oh my God, I'd love it.
Yeah,
and
so
just to come up with some ideas for things to goof around with it. You know what I mean? Like I love the idea of pushing it as a robotic camera because I think that's genius.
And that's what I originally pitched to him. That's how the whole way I met them was reaching out to them because I wanted something to feed me grapes from my nightstand and something to be my video camera on stream. And I explained to them that I wanted to script it to Stream Deck so that I could push buttons and move it around. And they're like, dude, that sounds amazing. Like, and the odd thing was like nobody else pitched that to him. I was like the first one that was like, I want to use this for a live stream. And they're like, oh man, that actually makes sense. And it was cool. While I had it operating, like people were just gaga over it. Like I had double the viewership I have today. Like, I'd get 1,400, 1,500 live viewers. And most of them would just be enamored coming into a channel where I'd have this camera and I could have it move slightly too, to where it would just be like this slow, continuous panning while I'm talking. So if I switched to camera 2, it was always motion. Yeah.
It just ups the production value. Look, one of the you're dealing with a good production when you've got a giant crane involved. I
Absolutely.
Like your toast. Nice toast.
Actually, one of my favorite channels, and this back in the day on Twitch when I was watching a lot of Twitch streamers, I can't remember the guy's name. Maybe you do, AuxxZillary. Do you remember the guy that had the camera slider up on top of his monitors?
No.
Oh, geez, what was his name?
I've seen a couple on Instagram now. They keep trying to sell them to me. These like little mini sliders.
Yeah, so he had a camera slider. Oh, what was his name? Like Alpha something. Anyways, he caught my eye one day because I'm going through the streams.
Gaming?
Not Alpha
Harris?
Gaming.
Harris Heller?
Let me see if I can find him. I follow him, and he has his production is insanely high quality because the guy does video for a living. Like he literally does videos where he talks about how he shot crane footage for Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay, no, that's
different. Yeah, it might be somebody else then. Alpha Gaming is Harris Heller.
I like him.
He's cool. It's really, really good info for like how streaming and stuff. And he's done schooling for audio production, dropped out, then did like music videos and stuff for a living.
And had like a really popular channel, which he said just sort of frittered away or whatever.
Yeah, he kind of dropped the ball on it. I think just didn't keep up with it.
Activator.
He's got it now though, because man, anytime I look up anything about streaming or whatever or YouTube, it's like he's the first video that pops up every time.
So here I'll put a link in live chat on YouTube. But this is the link to Activator's channel on Twitch. He was the one that he found me one day, and he was like, dude, this robotic arm, how are you doing this? Like, because he came by my stream one day, and then I went and checked out his stream, and I was like, dude, what are you talking about? You got something cooler than I do. He had this camera slider that would constantly move the camera, but it would always keep him in frame. So it was basically it'd slide and it could rotate the camera, and it was so smooth. And he had this really high production video. It was a Sony A7R. And he had like a lens on it that was like super like a 1.2 depth of field. And so the background was all lit with like purple lights and blue lights, but the background was like perfectly like phased out, and he would be in the foreground.
Nice bokeh.
It's so good. Yeah,
so nice. Dang, like that is a gorgeous.
Isn't that crazy? His video quality though, like I don't even know how to match that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty damn insane. So, and like when he does the headshots, like if you watch any of his videos where it's full frame headshot, like here, I'll put this one in chat. So this is one of the clips.
It's like panning a little bit.
Yeah.
Like really slowly. It's like almost rotating around him.
Yeah. So I just posted another one in chat. Check that one out.
Wow.
It's crazy because it's like, it's so sharp on him. And then the background is just constantly like panning, but it's like so slow that you don't really notice it, but you do. Yeah. It's like your brain is like, wow, this is something special. And
that's
so
really nice.
Yep. And you can do the same thing with the robotic arm. You can do exactly what he's doing there with the robotic arm. The only difference is he's just using a camera slider. Whereas with the robotic arm, you could move in 3D space.
He's got like
that's it. You could be craning up as well.
Yeah, he showed me a picture of his setup once. It's basically like a 60-40 aluminum extrusion that goes over the top of 3 monitors that he has down kind of low. Yeah. And they're just a little above his sight line. And then the camera just drives all the way over to one side, and then it slowly decelerates, and then it starts accelerating the other way really slowly. So there's no jarring motions. It's one continuous, smooth, fluid motion. And when I saw that, I was just like,
so it just eases in and eases out of the thing. That's nice.
And little things like that add everything. He used to do, every once in a while, he does a lot of gaming, but he'd do these videos where he'd just sit around and talk about like what he did. And he'd be like, when I shoot these movies and stuff, it's these tiny little things that you do. It's almost like the uncanny valley thing, right? It's like these tiny little things that you do that catch people's attention and make something so much more special. And it could be like the tiniest little thing. Like even just having a camera and using just a digital effect to slowly pulse it into a zoom and out of a zoom. Like will make it seem like like there's more space. Like it makes it seem like it's more than it is. And you can do that digitally. Like you don't even need a camera. Like, I was thinking like, oh, how do I tell my camera to zoom in and zoom out? Like I could go create an Arduino to plug into its USB and talk to it and do all that. Or what I could do is just shoot it 4K. Yeah, and crop it to 1080 and pulse it, right? Just zoom in digitally and then zoom out digitally. And then, have like that breathing effect. Or even just have it like slowly walking around a little bit just to kind of keep you in the rule of thirds, but, not by much. And just have it like randomly bob around, and then you get that sensation that somebody's holding.
The RTX has all that, right? The RTX can actually do that with images now, right? Isn't that built in?
I think RTX is a thing where it phase tracks, but that's about it.
Yeah, and it'll like auto blur your background and stuff like that.
You get it just to randomly, radically zoom in, just for no reason at all. Just suddenly zoom in for no reason.
Yeah, like I think it'll do like the kind of crop zoom where like boop. Yeah,
actually, that's a great idea. I'm gonna write that down
during your stream. Just suddenly for no reason, just zooms right in on you.
I want to see if I can write a plugin for OBS Studio called GTA 5 Cam. Have you ever watched GTA 5? Like when you stop playing, and after you stop playing for a little while, a little camera just shows up, and it's like somebody's kind of holding it. And it's just kind of like moving around and pointing at you and punching in really close, and then moving around. But it always has that handheld characteristic. I think it'd be cool to program that with like some random numbers and stuff like that using like a Unity script, like take the video in, put it on a 3D plane, and then just like parallax it around and zoom it in and stuff, and then just have that like as a scene in OBS Studio. I think that'd be really cool, and I don't think it'd be too hard.
It's one of those things where I feel like you want it to look. I'm always like I'm a total camera nerd. I think one of the reasons why I love film and television so much is just because of the tech side of it. Like I love those giant freaking cameras with 1,000 cables and
I do too.
Yeah, and all of the dollies and stuff, but it drives me crazy that it's all still done by humans, right? I mean, it just seems nuts to me. Like we're out the other day, and it's like, okay, let's carry this giant freaking dolly out into the middle of a cornfield and lay down some track, and I'm like, oh my god, like if we were dealing with cameras that didn't weigh a ton, why aren't we on like a cable cam or something? You could have this thing shot in like 5 minutes. Because the other thing I am is incredibly impatient. I hate sitting around waiting for people to shoot stuff. One of the guys was showing off, actually our director was showing off the Huawei phone because it's got these Leica lenses that are, like, they are gorgeous. I mean, if you don't mind being, owned by China or whatever the problem is. But
we all are.
And you can't use Google or something, isn't it? Because the Android store isn't available. Like, there's a lot of problems with getting a Huawei now that are all, politically motivated rather than technically motivated.
Correct.
But that said, the cameras itself on those things, freaking gorgeous. This guy shot a series on the Huawei.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite YouTube videos, like honestly, hands down, top 10 YouTube videos I've ever seen, is a competition between shooting on an ARRI. It was an ARRI professional cinema camera, and then they 3D, they 3D printed a bracket, and then they put a Samsung Note, I think 9 at the time on it, and then they basically put the lens on the camera to match roughly the same field of view. And they shot an entire show, indoor, outdoor scenes, moving action, crane shots, drone shots. They put this big thing on a drone and was flying it around. And when they were done, they edited it all together, shot for shot, using footage from the main camera, and then using completely unedited footage. All they did was color grading. They did the color grading, but they used the footage from the cell phone and the footage from the thing, and people literally could not tell the difference. A $200,000 camera rig. And they could not tell the difference in a YouTube video that was uploaded. I think it was 8K too. I think it was shot on like one of the newer cameras that could do 8K video.
Jeez.
And you could not tell.
People's complaint. So I've believe me, I've fought this battle so many times, both from as an actor and also as a director in some cases, where I'm like, why are the cameras so freaking huge? Why can't I just use? So like I tried to use GoPros on a film we did, on a sci-fi thing we did. No, that's for amateurs. We got to build a giant freaking rig with a massive red camera stuck to it that takes 45 minutes to install and then doesn't look very good anyways.
I know a guy who does like events, for like he'll do the video production and stuff for like overclocking events and things like that, and he runs into that same problem. Honestly, it's a bunch of old people who don't want to change. So much of it is still a bunch of like SDI cables and repeaters and stuff that can, because
although
it can only go 10 feet.
I love SDI cables. HDMI sucks because they keep falling out. That's my only issue with the HDMI.
He keeps pushing for NDI. Like you can have cameras with NDI out. You can send them 100 million miles. It doesn't matter. No loss of video quality. And people are just so stubborn. They don't install that here. Infrastructure is so ingrained, especially like in news studios and things like that. It's been 50, 60 years of them using the same technology. Yeah. And they don't want to invest in changing the infrastructure. And so that's why you still have to use these big chunky cameras. Nobody wants to change.
Well, you need the weight. It's got to have a weight to it. I was like, well, so put a weight on it.
Exactly. Buy a cinder block and like duct tape that some bitch on there.
Well, and I've done that. I've literally put a GoPro on a brick and carried it because it just gives it that kind of. Of course, you don't have to do that anymore because now you've got the image stabilization. But the other thing that you get into is reliability. So we were using the Reds when the Reds first came out, and the biggest problem you have is you could shoot this amazing except when you could. Because it was always going down. It was like the fan kicks in to cool it down every 7
Red
minutes.
Red is a joke, dude. It is Red is a meme at this point. Like people use it.
Revolutionized the film industry, though.
Here's the thing with Red is the software. This is another good explanation. We've talked about this before. How software is more important than the hardware, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Red, it is all software. The hardware itself is nothing spectacular at all. Their memory cards that they sell for like a shitload of money are just like NVMe SSDs crammed in a metal case for like 10 times the cost. Their proprietary cables are nothing special at all. There's like third-party companies that are now trying to manufacture them, but they can't because they put a tiny little $2 encryption chip in there that does nothing but prevent you from using a third-party cable.
Really?
The screens, nothing like the little like 3-inch screen that costs like $1,000 or whatever. It sits on top of the little red Ravens. Yeah, it's nothing special. But it has like a crazy proprietary connector with like 100 pins and stuff. But it's like no better than what HDMI can do. So
I used to love the old video cameras. We used to do the old HD Sony tape cameras, and you just put them on and let them run because it costs nothing. It's tape.
Right.
So you basically just like on Stargate, they would they'd go and action, and then like 10 minutes later they go, oh, you know what, we should probably cut because we've done 4 other scenes. Oops. I mean, there's a snobbery to it for sure. It's also it reminds me of the early days of computers where it's like, oh no, we've got to come up with incredibly complex terms to make it sound more complicated than it really is.
Yeah,
you're just a mere mortal. You can't do this. And I think there's definitely, especially in the camera department, where people have like work their asses off to get to the point where they're actually allowed to touch the freaking cameras without getting screamed at. But yeah, it drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's like when I went to CES and they had all the camera rigs set up for you to like try out, like the broadcast camera rigs. Yeah. And it's like, oh, this camera rig's $250,000, and it's got like another $300,000 lens on it. And it's like, once you do the whole package together, it's like, oh, we can get you started on a package for like $12 million to like set up your studio to shoot this. And it's like, dude, give me like a Stream Deck OBS studio and like 5 Sony FDR AX33s, and I could produce something that people wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
I think. And in part, like part of the, so people in chat are like, oh, Linus and Corridor, they're both like, oh, they swear by the Reds.
They swear at the Reds too.
I have a bit of a relationship with the Corridor guys, and some of the content that they've put out, like I watched the whole video of them putting together like a $12,000 Red camera. They had basically a blank check, and what it really comes. What it really comes down to is the options that a high-end camera gives you in post-production. So you could record everything that you want in 4K at 30 FPS on your iPhone 11, and it'll come out very similar to what you can do with a Red. And Corridor actually has a video comparing cell phones to cheap cameras to their Uber Red camera, and what it really comes down to is the information that the camera captures and allows you. It's like the difference between taking pictures in RAW or JPEG.
Yeah,
they kind of look the same, but it gives you a lot more flexibility in post. There's just not as much color grabbing from your iPhone. It'll look great in H.264, but you're not going to be able to edit that very well because the compression. The Red is going to give you so much more data to play with. You can pull all those blues out of the sky. You can reduce all those clouds easier.
Yeah.
And it's just that's really the benefit.
But here's the frustrating thing, though, is I mean, absolutely, you've got more data to deal with, but in many cases, you'll find that the cinematographer still wants to have that control over stuff, and so he's putting in the LUTs, he's putting in the lookup tables, he's dictating how it's supposed to look because he doesn't want it messed with after.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's totally a control thing. I think we're going to get to the point where, you know, the fact that we even have we've got a camera operator, we got a focus puller, they're separate. We got someone else who's doing a DIT stuff. I'm like, and part of that is just because the unions have these positions built in, right? So, you know, the reality is the guy looking through the lens should be the one pulling focus. You know what I mean? I mean, unless maybe, you know, you could have another guy's backup maybe. And then the next thing is, why are we pulling focus? Because you know the cameras are better at it than we are anyways. So I haven't heard anything for a while about these the cameras that can record everything. They can record all of the different depths of field, and then choose
tilt shift?
Is it tilt shift is a technique, but there's a type of camera, light field. That's it.
Light field cameras. Yep, I remember that.
What happened to those? That was the promise, where you basically just point the camera, leave, come back again, and then decide what you want to focus on later.
That was really cool tech, but I think only one company developed it, and it just never really went anywhere. It was Chrono. Was it Chrono? Not Chronos. Who remembers? Oh, yeah. No.
Lytro.
Lytro. Yep.
Lytro.
They literally had a store in our mall, in the Bellevue Mall here. Really? They had a store for this camera, and I remember
in my mall.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. It was pretty crazy.
Close.
Like
you're Washington State, aren't you?
Yeah, Washington State.
Yeah, that's where we used to. We were at the Bellingham Mall.
This was Bell Square, so this would have been in Bellevue, next to like the Microsoft Tower. I remember I went in there once, and the cameras looked really weird. They had like an angle on the back of them. They weren't flat on the back. They were like angled up, and then they had like their one weird lens on there. But I do remember that you didn't have to do focus. You just recorded everything, and then in the software you could do depth of field or where you wanted to focus, near or far, like in post.
So cool.
Wow.
But my guess is it probably was insane amounts of data, like, because think about it. I mean, it's having to, there's no way that it's recording all of that data all at once. What it's probably doing is like very rapid succession, like pulling the focus through the entire range. And then they're like digitally going through and manipulating. Because I can't think of how you would do that, like with how optics work, how you would be able to.
Saying there's a lot of light involved. You have to have incredible amounts of light for it.
I'd imagine. Yeah. because the shutter speed has to be insane. So you need like 300 frames per second, because for every one frame that you're displaying, you need like eight or 10 depth of field shots simultaneously. Weird. So it just never caught on, and I think it was because people just weren't really getting that. It was a cool gimmick, but in practice, it still wasn't as good as you like going out and actually like getting that sharp focus that you wanted. But I do remember their demo video was amazing, like where they had like a guy in a camera and they shoot the whole thing, and it's like the focus is like really quickly like transferring between the guy and the car, and now like somebody's racking focus like super hard, and you realize that nobody's doing anything, the camera's just on a tripod. Yeah. And you're like, okay, that's pretty damn cool.
And it's total Blade Runner. Go left, go right, focus on that.
Yep.
It's just like so cool.
Yeah, I remember the software was really easy to use too. Like on the computer, you could literally, you didn't have to even move knobs. You could just click on the object in the frame that you wanted focus. And just like your autofocus on your camera, it would just focus to it after it was shot. And I was like, wow, that actually is pretty cool technology. And you can make the depth of field like infinite, or you could like make it really shallow. And I wonder, like,
are they still around?
God, I don't even know if they are. I haven't heard of them in like a million years. And the store got closed in the mall, so.
But they were they were everywhere for a while there. Like every tech magazine, every film magazine was talking about it. And
here, I got the Wikipedia page. It says Lytro is an American company founded in 2006, developed the light field camera. Let's see, how does it work? Let's see, history, product. Okay, so the original camera is a square tube less than 5 inches long, with the lens opening at one end at 1.5 inches, touchscreen on the other. The original camera featured 11 sensors. So it's shooting 11 shots per frame, each on a different sensor. The lens has 8x optical zoom and an f2 aperture. The first generation of the camera comes in two options, one with 8 gig of memory and another was 16 gig. And it didn't even do video. The first camera only did photos.
Google bought them.
So, oh really? Of course they did.
Google bought them, but apparently not for the technology, but for the techs. For the well, at least that's what this. I mean, this is The Verge. This is the same people who badly built a computer. So but they often have some good stuff.
So yeah, they're known for variable depth of field and refocusing. It said the feature allows you the depth of field of two-dimensional representation of the Lytro image to be expanded after a picture has been taken, instead of having to set the focus at a particular distance. Focus spread allows more 2D images to be in focus. In some cases, this may allow entire 2D image field. Users are also able to refocus 2D images at particular distances for artistic effects. The Illum, whatever model that is, allows the refocus able and focus spreadable range to be selected using the optical focus and zoom rings on the lens itself. The Illum also features a focus bracketing to extend the refocusable range by capturing 3 to 5 consecutive images at different depths. So you do have to, you do have to like take a bunch of pictures to get the full focal range. So that wouldn't be for video. Like that would just be for taking images. Did they ever do video? Because I thought I saw a demo of them doing video with this thing.
Too, but I guess that's.
I wonder if they were just taking still images and then animating the effect. That's what they were doing.
Yeah. And again, eventually, this technology always gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and then eventually you have like 24 of these in a camera, and it does every second you're getting 24 shots. I mean, like, or however many they can do.
Whatever happened to the red cell phone camera that was supposed to be like the end all be all for phone video? You guys remember that? Beat them to it. The red smartphone camera?
I think they only did 2 of those and then they quit.
But they did actually sell them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here it is right here.
With cameras was I had so many people, like filmmaker people, talking about what cameras you need to make films, all this kind of stuff. And I was always like, just rent them because if something goes wrong in the middle of the day, you don't want to go like, I better go see if they can fix this. It's like you need that support when you're making stuff. But when it's just for yourself, man, I mean, I just cameras to play with. I freaking love them.
They only made one. The Red quits the smartphone business after a single terrible phone. It's called the Red Hydrogen. It started at $1,300, not including the like camera module that goes onto it.
Right.
Which is funny because back then when this was happening, they're like in early 2018, they're like, oh my god, this is so expensive. Now you can get a $1,500 iPhone. So now it doesn't look that expensive.
Yeah, it's true. $1,300 sounds like almost reasonable for a phone now.
Yeah, they said it had a shit Snapdragon processor that was like well behind the performance of phones at the time. Had a shitty screen, which I think's funny because it's a camera phone by Red and it has a shitty screen. Like you'd think it'd have like the most color corrected, vibrant screen ever. It actually, I mean, it's a cool looking phone. Like, it looks like you'd never drop it because it's got like all these little grippers around the side. Here, let me link this in chat so people can see it. This is kind of interesting. It's a neat looking phone. Like, that looks like something that I would actually use. But it looks like the cost killed it and the module availability and usefulness killed it, because like at the time, cell phones were still taking like amazing video and amazing images. So do you really want to spend $2,000 on a phone and then once the camera module's on it, it no longer fits in your pocket? Really?
That is a freaking ugly phone.
Really? That's not growing on you a little bit?
I mean, in a retro kind of.
Bro, it's got carbon fiber on the back, though.
It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like it needs an aerial. It looks like it needs like an antenna sticking out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'd buy it.
Grippies, that's kind of cool. You know,
I like the grippies on the side. The grippies are cool.
I love the idea of modular cameras. I just think that's like, wasn't Google was doing that for a while? I thought that was brilliant.
Ara, right? Somebody mentioned the project ARA or ARA.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Supposed to be like a fully modular. You could just click things into the back.
Oh, I remember that camera. Did that ever actually ship? Because I thought that was like a Kickstarter that they just ripped everybody off.
It was supposed to be a phone.
Yeah, but it was like they were bricks, right? Like little blocks, and some of them were like 2-block modules and 4-block modules. You had to do like storage and memory and camera, and like everything was a module. And you drop it, and it probably just breaks into a million Legos.
Yeah, that's it. Well, can you imagine that, like a Lego phone? Oh my god, I'd buy a Lego phone in a second.
You know what? I would too.
Now what you want?
What was it called? The Ara?
Yeah, Ara. They killed it to streamline hardware efforts, I guess, back in 2016, which is too bad. Like Google has a bad tendency of like starting off with cool stuff, Google Glass, for example, and then abandoning it or just like sitting on it and not letting anybody else run with it. And that's kind of dumb. Like, it's like, oh, we don't want to do this. We should at least spin off, you know, like, oh, who wants to keep going with this project? We'll spin off a sister company, and it's up to you guys to keep it going. And
I feel like they're killing the phones now. I feel like they're done on the phones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're sloppy with the Pixel stuff. Like I've heard nothing but bad about the latest Pixel, which is again too bad. They bought Motorola, or the hardware arm of Motorola, for the sake of building cell phones, and they're not doing anything with it. It's like it's bizarre.
I hate it when companies do that.
Get the patents just to squat on them, so nobody else can do it.
But it's like I almost feel like it's like dealing with an ADHD teenager, where it's like they're all excited about this, and then oh, what's that over there?
Yeah, for like 6 months,
so
6 months, it sounds really cool, and then they give up. And then Apple's going to come out with an AR set of glasses, and then like,
but they'll do it right. They'll nail it.
Stuff. It's like, then I have to buy an iPhone, and that's dumb. It's just, I don't. Google at least had the opportunity and like the strength to have a kind of almost an open source, or at least wide compatibility for like an AR set.
They didn't kill it though. Like the public killed it. Like Google Glass would have been so successful if it wasn't for the public outrage about people like walking into bathrooms and walking into theaters, and everybody's recording everything while they're walking around, even if they're not, and antisocial issues.
Anyways, people are doing that anyways.
I know, that's what I never understood.
It's like people look at fucking Dr. Disrespect walking into an LA bathroom at fucking TwitchCon or whatever it was. Like, come on. It's not.
So what he got in trouble for?
One of many things he got in trouble for. But I'm just saying, people do that shit anyway. And whatever. People are going to, I'm sure, going to spam chat saying, oh, it was his cameraman, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? It was his responsibility. He's the content creator. Sorry, I get on a rant.
Who the hell goes to a bathroom
I like your rants.
with a camera anyways? That's just.
It's just.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know what's funny though is I can walk into a public bathroom, set down the largest DSLR crazy camera rig with a lens, like set it on the counter, like pointing into the bathroom, and like wash my hands and go take a dump, and like nobody cares. Nobody cares because you're at like a con and it's just a camera there. But then like a dude walks in with Google Glass on, you automatically assume that he's doing something bad.
It does look like Glass made its way into the enterprise section.
Wait, really?
If you look up Google Glass, yeah, they still are pushing in like it looks like kind of like fab, like industrial applications.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's what HoloLens is doing that, right? They've really pushed for industrial
super cool stuff. I went to an escape room actually that used a HoloLens as part of their.
No way.
And it was slick as snot, dude. It was super cool.
Was it the new one that had like the wider field of view, or did it still feel like you were looking at a postage stamp like this in front of you?
Oh no, it's like it was almost like wearing like big safety goggles. It was a huge thing in front of but it was light and stuff. Like I could see.
But the image, was the image wide, or did it get cut off like in this field of view?
No, it filled my vision.
Oh, so it was the new one. I haven't used the new one. I only used the old one, and man, the field of view just ruined it for me.
At the time, I
That
think
Google Glass looked good. That looks really cool.
yeah, right.
I gotta say, I loved it. I mean, I would never pay for it, but we had I did a web thing that I guess at the time there were a lot of incentives to build stuff for Google Glass, so they did a little Google Glass game. I think I walked into like 4 chandeliers while I was doing it, but trying to do it in a bar in France. But the idea of it, for me, it's literally the killer app for me is I look at you. I then all of a sudden I'm reminded your name, who you're married to, when last we met, like just little things that would be great that would just help me from a social anxiety standpoint. Because I meet so many freaking people, I can't remember who they are, and people always get offended. It's like, but I met you 4 years ago at a convention in a bathroom in a, like
exactly.
No.
How do you not remember me?
Yeah, alert! Watch you in the bathroom.
I like the idea too of the sort of like floating data. Like if I'm walking down this. I can look at, I can look at a restaurant and it'll pop up the menu or like a Yelp, most recent Yelp review. Paint.
That was my dream when I had
on the road in front.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I got excited.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about ZBrush, right? Like the VR, like being able to just paint out in 3D space.
That's
dude.
Cool
imagine like digital graffiti. Imagine being able to go around an entire city. Like if everybody had Google Glass, but it had the capability of HoloLens, like you had that really nice augmented reality. You could have people digitally like tagging and spray painting an entire city. And then people could like flip through channels walking around with their glasses and see that artwork, like their favorite tagger, without actually physically damaging the property. How cool would that be?
Done that.
They should.
That seems so smart to me because it's like it's like Pokemon Go. If you can have these different stations where you go and you do your battles, why not have like something where you could do your own little tag things as you go along? Maybe you could like record a little video or say something about yourself or whatever.
I know why. I know why. It just came to me. You know why this hasn't happened yet? Price. Oh my god. The HoloLens is like $3,000+ The Google Glass like had like no battery life when it came out, and I want to say it was like several hundred over what they were charging, right? Because they were pretty rare. So I think price kills that. Like I don't think they could get it to a price point where it's like anybody could really use it for anything artistic.
Well, it's 2 cell phones, right? One for each eye.
Yeah. What is? There you go.
That's how I try to justify it to my wife.
What did the HoloLens cost? Because I want to see the SDKs were even like upwards of $3,000. Oh, here's pricing right here. HoloLens 2 costs. Drum roll. Scrolling. What's that?
2,500. I'm guessing.
Okay, 2,500. Let me click buy now. Okay, I'm putting one in my cart. I'm not gonna buy it though because I'm poor people. Let's see. Scrolling down. Actually, man, they got that thing so compact. Holy crap!
It's pretty great.
$3,500 starting.
Yikes!
Like nobody's gonna be able to afford that. Although, man, did they get it small? It is here. I'll send you guys a link.
That is really nice.
It's the HoloLens 2.
Much smaller. Yeah, this is the HoloLens 2, and it's got wider field of view, better battery life. Here, let me get you the link, guys.
I think it's smart though. Like $3,500, your target. This isn't a consumer product. You're targeting enterprise and industrial applications. $3,500 is not that bad.
That's true. That's like 3D printers cost more than that.
If it means that you can reduce like accidents or reduce your maintenance costs and stuff over the course of 5-10 years, $3,500, dude. You think about like what Puget does. We sell $10,000 PCs. Like when it all comes back to like time, right? If you can save time when it's $1,000 a minute, that's nothing. It's a drop in a $10 million budget. Like that's so it makes sense.
Dude, I want one now.
Well, and that's like going back to the cameras again. Like it can be the best image in the world if it only works for 10-minute stretches every hour. Then it's better to have a cheaper, not as good camera that's gonna be more reliable.
Hang on just a sec. I gotta get the door. My lady's got a bunch of stuff in her hands.
Go after it.
Go for it.
So I actually like the new version of the Sony AX camera because these had all that restraint that you were talking about where it can only record for like maybe 15-20 minutes, and then it overheats the sensor and it has to stop.
Yeah. Which is the problem with the compacts, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the brand new one that they made of this, as long as you're not like Arizona temperatures, you can actually enable a feature that basically says like, overheat mode. And it will let the thing get like so hot that like it's almost burning your hand, but it will not stop recording. It will record infinitely for hours and hours and hours.
The ZV-1?
No,
Yeah.
Is that the one?
The Sony, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
vlogger cam.
Now,
Oh,
what
I
does
don't
that
think I've
cost
seen
for
that
out
one.
here in
The
the
Z,
Great White
the
North?
ZV1.
V1. I must.
Oh, before we continue, let me read off some of these. There's been
That's
so many
pretty
people
cheap. It's
showing
like
crazy
$800.
support. I want to go through and read all these guys off.
$1,000 Canadian. Yeah, you
Robert-
go, I'm going to grab some coffee. Sorry.
Do it. Get some
Okay.
coffee. Get caffeinated. Robert, thank you for the $25. We appreciate it. Said here for awesome. What's with the gray stash, David? That was from earlier. I know his stash cracks me up. I love it.
It's good.
Absolutely
I
love it.
like it.
I feel like I need to realign us though, because I'm like, I got no facial hair, and then he's got like the middle, and then you got all the facial hair. I think we need to do like the Russian doll thing. Like in the video.
You got to do a goatee, man, where it's like just along the edge of your chin. I think it would be great.
Even I can't really grow hair here though. Is it okay that it's just neck beard?
I mean that's a little weird. I think you could shape it right. Like if you could, get a good cut on there so that it looks right.
Okay.
It'd be all right.
So let it grow out for a couple, because remember, Ed, when I grow this out like a whole month, it is just barely what you would qualify a mustache.
Gotta do because I've seen your Movember stuff.
Yeah.
I think for you it ought to be at least 3.
Like
Don't
3
shave-
months.
And I'm talking don't shave anything for like 3 months. Don't touch it. Just let it fill in. See where it gets patchy. See where it gets thick.
Just go full gorilla mode.
Yeah, just let it go.
Tell I'll make you a deal. If you can get Miss Barnacules on Twitter to agree to me doing that, I will do it.
There you go.
You just got to get her to agree to it, because she doesn't like the scratchy intermediate phase, like where it gets to where it's like hypodermic needles.
And yeah, and that's going to be the first like 6 weeks or so, because it's when it's really really short that it's pokey. I would also, while it's growing, use a nice conditioner. It'll help.
Oh, nice. She said Miss B's in chat right now. She said I could color it in with makeup.
There you go.
Like GL8s, you just got to go. Oh my god, it itched so bad too. Hey, is it Rewersma? Sorry if I'm butchering your name there. Thank you. The 15 euros said greetings from the Netherlands. Have some of Google's money. We love Google's money. Like, it's like I'll take any money as long as it's not blood money. A10 Pilot, thank you for the membership. I appreciate that and welcome. Robert Geyer, thank you for the $5. He said, David, you have any part or info on Stargate reboot? When he gets back, we're going to ask him about that. Naoda, thank you for the $10. Said, what is the reason to monitor your voice audio loopback? Oh, we already read that one. That was you. We want to hear ourselves to lower our voice. Lee Green, thank you for the £5. That's pounds. Said, hi, Jerry. Just wanted to say hello from Manchester, UK. Hello, Lee. I hope you're still with us. Jonas, thank you for the 50 sexes. We love getting those sexes from you guys. He said, Hewlett, Swedish crowns, 50 equals $5. Thank you so much for that conversion. Alan BR, thank you for the 40 rupees. Said, hello, my OnlyFan buddies. Shh, don't tell people about that. That's our side action. Capital G, thank you for the $5. Said, nothing beats a red. Wink. Yeah, I know. Lulz.
Oh boy.
Got a couple more. Alan BR, thank you for the 40 rupees. He said, Hub is better than red, my boy. I don't even know what Hub is.
I've never even heard of Hub.
Is that a camera brand? See if you can find that one. Dante Armaros Tech, thank you for the £5. He said, hey up, fellas. How's it going? I think it's going pretty good. I mean, I only slept 4 hours, and it's probably showing really bad. But
I'm about the same, and I'm enjoying this. So
yeah, man, I love this, man. I love getting on here with my bearded friend in Van Stash.
Santa stash.
David, I'm gonna say, before the day is over, I'm gonna take a screenshot from one of the frames, and I'm gonna literally put your face behind the glass of like a panel van. I'm gonna go find like a white panel van. I'm gonna paint free candy on the side. And I'm just gonna put your face like behind the glass at like half capacity.
So true. Yeah. My poor wife. I had to stick with this mustache for 6 months because we were in the middle of shooting something when we shut down. And I was like maintaining it the whole time. She's like, you know what? Just you fucking shave that thing.
Oh
and you
my
can
God.
grow it back. They will give you enough time. So I was like, well, if I shave it, it'll be the end of the pandemic because then I'll get in trouble. So
I just think it's funny that like during like Star Trek, they'll spend like 6 hours putting on Worf's makeup, but they can't like stick a little fucking mustache on you before they shoot.
Can,
like,
but they're
what?
really uncomfortable, and you spend the entire time acting like this. Like worried that it's going to come off or peel
Oh,
off.
really? Is it that bad?
Oh, and they're also just really itchy. There's someone else's hair.
Oh, I guess so. I guess I wasn't really thinking. I've never worn a fake mustache, so I don't know. Let's see. Alan, thank you for the 40 rupees. Said happy mental health day, folks. Oh, is it mental health day today?
Oh,
Nice.
well, that would make sense. That's
I
why
mean,
we're all together.
Yeah, you got the right 3 people in the room for it, don't you?
Yeah.
This is what can happen if you don't look after your mental health.
Right. Heck, and I honestly, I would say live streaming helps quite a bit. With
It does.
Mine. I like it. It provides a bit of social interaction without actually having to be like face to face. Because
Yeah.
like I can only do like I was just out with some friends last night, and that's about it for me.
You got
like
the
I can
COVID.
only do
You're gonna
I can only
die.
do, like real groups a little bit at a time. So
I'm gonna keep an eye for conjunctivitis in your eyes now.
Yeah, watch the signs. I actually Friday. I was having a bad day Friday, and I was like, screw this, and I just streamed, and I streamed
Yeah.
for like a couple hours. It was great. I mean, it was just even just to vent a bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I was freaking out about the kid because we got a phone call from the teacher, and apparently he's talking too much in class. He's not getting stuff done. All that kind of working at like 1% of his ability and all that kind of stuff. And so I was freaking out about that. But then I sort of got chilled out about it. I went and talked to the kid for a bit when he came home. We were fine, sorted it out. So yeah.
I find that Twitch streaming, like this, I love hanging out with you guys. This is my social interaction for the week. But just being able to go postal on Twitch, like just flying completely off the fucking handle about everything and just like not caring. It's equivalent to like punching pillows and playing paintball and stuff. It's like it allows me to get out that pent up aggression.
Sure.
And oh man, does it make me feel better when I'm done doing
I mean,
it.
you've been wading into it recently. Jesus, it's
Oh,
like
my
watching
God.
it's like watching Evil Dead Army of Darkness.
No, really, yeah. No
wade
holds
into that
barred,
stuff.
zero fucks given. Like it's something else. It's something to behold. I'll tell you what, it's nothing like this. This is like my zen, hanging out with my buddies, having a good time, talking technology. And no, Twitch is just like, you know what? I'm going to tell you everything in the last 48 hours that has pissed me off. And I'm just going to go hard. And I've even talked to my therapist about it too. And she actually thinks that, no, that's fantastic therapy, because a lot of people will just run out and scream and hit a pillow, right? Like,
Right.
and that actually helps. I don't know if
Or
you've
not
ever
a
tried that. Grab a pillow and just beat the ever living shit out of it within, and put your face into it and scream as loud as you can till you're almost like damaging your vocal cords. And you just get a zen about you when you're done.
Yeah.
That's
like-
I used to do Taekwondo. I used to love it. Same
Yeah,
thing.
exactly,
Kick
right?
the crap
Physical
out of
exertion.
dummies. Yeah.
And it's like my
Makes it
back's so screwed up, I can't do anything. So it's like, but I can do that. Like no matter how messed up you are, you can scream into a pillow and beat the shit out of it. And it's funny because I even tried it with my son, not beating the shit out of him, but the pillow thing. Yesterday.
Beat him with the pillow?
Yeah. I mean, well, you got to be a good dad, right? So no, he was being too antsy and he was running around and he was having just a crisis, and he usually doesn't, right? So this was kind of new territory for me. It was a long day of school. Things weren't going very well between him and mom because he wasn't doing what he was told. Mom was getting frustrated with him. So anyways, he got frustrated and he was crying a whole bunch. And I said, dude, go get a pillow. And he went and got a pillow off the couch. And I said, I want you to punch this pillow and scream at it as much as you can. And he did. Like, he didn't even take a second. He's just wailing on it, screaming, and I'm holding it. And as soon as he does that, then he gets a smile on his face. And I said, do it again. And do it again. We did it about 3 times. Then I threw the pillow on the floor. And I said, I want you to wrestle that pillow as hard as you can on the floor. And he jumps down on the floor and he's hitting and he's rolling around on it. And then he's giggling. And he's like perfectly zen and calm. And then he goes and plays. And I was like,
You gotta
look,
get one
that
of those
worked.
dolls. Get him one of those like punching things.
Oh, like
the
the
best.
Taekwondo dolls or whatever that are like up on the armature.
Or the pads are great too, where you can hold the pads and the only problem is every so often they miss and hit you in the face. That's the only issue there.
I come out and there's like holes in it with blood seeping out of it, and like a knife sticking out of its head. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
It does help though. I'm not even joking. Seriously, like
No,
if
I'm
you
with you,
guys
man.
punch the shit out of a pillow, it is amazing. I don't do it all the time, but it's better than punching the wall. I've punched the wall about 6 times now, and I have to fix the drywall. And every once in a while, I miss and hit a stud, and I even shattered my pinky doing that once.
Ow, ow.
So I
used to do
caught-
back in my drinking days. I used to do a lot
my
of wall
God.
punching, and there's just nothing lamer than wall punching. I
No,
gotta
there
say.
isn't, and you
Just-
feel so
it's-
pathetic afterwards. Like you don't feel like
Yeah.
you got your anger out. You're just like, I just broke my
Yeah.
pinky or sprained my finger, and what did I get
Yeah.
out of this?
Yeah, it's not. It's There's better ways to go. The
Yeah.
number of like bathrooms in bars that I've been into with all these giant holes. You're like, oh my
Right.
god. I can see I can see the relationship pattern right there.
Yeah.
Someone's just had a fight.
Yeah, if you come into my
Yeah.
house, if you ever see a picture that's hanging on the wall that doesn't look like it's quite in a position anybody would put a picture, that's literally covering a hole behind it because I've been too lazy to fix all the drywall over the years.
It is fun to do it if you do have to do renovation though. It's really fun to punch the walls then.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
then you're
Oh,
like,
sure.
it's like
Demo
oh,
is
yeah.
great.
Yeah, actually,
I'm convinced that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like I say, I'm convinced that that there's a lot of problems with like self-harm with young women as they grow up.
Yes.
And they do like cutting and stuff. I'm convinced that the reason why guys don't do it as much is because we just punch stuff. and hurt our hands that way. Like we get that need for that sort of that adrenaline rush by just punching things.
Yeah, I used to go play paintball. That was my release, right? Running through the woods and just get hit by these balls and make you bleed. And if one catches you in the face, it hurts like really freaking bad. So
I wonder too, though, because like, I don't know, at least for me when I was younger, a lot of my anger was external, right? Like I was angry at things that were outside of myself. Whereas I wonder if and this is pure speculation, but I wonder if girls and young women suffer more internally, and it's almost I wonder, I don't know if that's just weird stereotyping and this is probably a subject that a guy shouldn't be even talking about, but I feel like some of that sort of stuff might be more like pressure about like my looks or how I act, and like more internal, the kind of person they are, versus like, oh, I'm pissed at that guy or what I did over there and that kind of a thing. I
always think there's more complexity. I think there's more complexity to it because they've already done studies. Women can multitask better than men. They can track multiple targets. This has been tested 1 million times over. And I think that being able to multitask and be able to have multiple strains of thought complicates things when you're angry, because you're dealing with like multiple targets at the same time. If you're a guy, you just get tunnel vision and everything else goes away. Like when I'm playing paintball and somebody's shooting the crap out of me, I'm not thinking about the 5 other things that are wrong with my life. I'm just 100% devoted to whatever is happening in the moment.
Right.
And I don't think that would complicate things if you're a person that generally you like multitasks and you can't just think of one thing or focus on one thing. I can see that greatly complicating like how you handle it.
That's interesting though, because that's why the streaming would work for us too, right? Because it's giving us a direct focus.
Exactly. And when I stream on Twitch, I don't think about anything else. Nothing.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's like, again, it's speculative. We need some women to weigh in on this, obviously. But I actually have 2 female friends that both did the cutting thing when they were growing up. They're still good friends of mine today, and I've talked to them about it. And a lot of it came down to depression caused from either loneliness or feeling out of place. Like literally feeling out of place in the world, and therefore not feeling like they were being taken seriously or anybody cared about them. And the funny thing is, like, it was a lack of feeling, they told me, is why they cut themselves, is to feel something, because they felt numb. In both cases, that was what was told to me, is they felt numb and they wanted to feel something. Whereas I think it's the opposite with men that are angry. We feel a lot, but we want to push it to its absolute brink. Right? That's why you get physical. That's why, you kick stuff and you punch stuff. It's like you're literally trying to push things to their absolute limit. And that's what I feel like. When I get really, really angry and I punch a wall or something because I'm mad, it's because I literally feel like a fireball growing inside of me. And I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm going to freaking pass out. I
don't get it as much anymore. I mean, that may be like probably because I'm old now. But,
I was going to say, that's called getting old, man. Like, I don't either.
But I feel like I'm able to sort of like, I can sort of see it coming. I know when to walk away now. Whereas I used to sort of embrace it. Go like, all right, fine. I'm going full McKay. I think but part of that is the thing. I think we said this before, where it's like, you like the key to our marriage is being like, if it feels good, don't say it. Like, when you get angry and you're like, you know what? I've always hated. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because once you said that, it's a whole other and it really makes a difference, because it's not even just about that. It's about stopping for a second and just going like, okay, if I can get mad and say exactly what I feel right now and then ruin everything, or I can just wait a second and think it through.
There's like a line. There's a line that goes like the moment between reaction and response is where like tranquility lies, or something like that. And it's like, if you can just what I try to tell like the girls and stuff when they freak out is like, you can't control your emotions. Like you feel the way you feel, right? But you can totally control how you respond to them. Like,
that's nice.
Yes,
I like that.
It's okay to feel angry. It's not okay to lash out.
Right.
It's not, I'm not mad at you for being angry. I'm mad at you for how you're handling those emotions. And so it's like, and that's important.
Yeah, and hormones are a hell of a drug too. Like, it's especially hard with young boys and young girls, when they're starting to go through that time in their lives, right? It's like, I remember I was a super unstable powder keg when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I was all over the map of emotions.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be crying one minute, throwing stuff the other minute, laughing hysterically. I mean, I was literally the poster child for like emotional train wreck when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But a lot of that had to do with just my environment and dealing with that stuff. And then I was just getting confused because a lot of stuff was happening really fast and I didn't want things to change. And it's like, I think that's like one of the highest pressure points in your life. But then later on in life, even when you got things more sorted out and you have more experience, you're still vulnerable to a lot of that stuff. It just takes maybe a little bit more to set it off. But I still get to the point sometimes where it's like, there's just too many things collapsing around me and I don't know what to do. And then I feel cornered. And it's that whole cornered animal thing where you start getting that, you know, you start shaking, you can't stay fixated on one thing, your respiration goes up, you start perspiring, and then you're like, okay, well, what are my options now? Do I go lay down and try to calm down, or do I go play GTA 5 and, like, you know, blow up every single cop car in the game? Like, what do you do? Video games are a great release, though. Maddie in chat just said that earlier, that she didn't cut because she played video games to take out, you know, basically for her frustration. And I actually totally relate to that.
Art's another one that's really good. I know, you know, we had family members who had the similar issues, and you know, and she wasn't cutting when she was drawing. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, and something, there were some dark drawings too. Like,
dude,
amazing,
distractions,
you know?
right? Distractions are like the biggest thing ever. Like, what is the saying? Idle hands are the devil's plaything, or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for your mind. It's like I find that I am the most depressed when I am stationary and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
And
because then I have time to think. Yep, but if I'm focused on something, like if I'm playing Beat Saber, there's no way, like no matter how depressed I am, once I start playing Beat Saber, I enjoy myself. I don't want to play Beat Saber because I'm depressed and I don't want to. But the second I pick up the controllers and I start doing it, it's like 3 notes into the song, I'm now committed and I'm fully focused on, oh my God, I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to get better at this. And then I'll start getting like frustrated and mad at the game, but then I walk away and I'm physically and mentally exhausted. And I'm like, okay, that was a good time. Like that helped.
I used to drum. As a drummer, it's a great one too. We just go downstairs and just kick the shit out of a drum set to some AC/DC or you know, whatever else I was going along to. That was a great release. That stuff.
I never could
tried
drum.
to get my son into it. Oh no, I sucked at it. But
I tried drumming. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. You have to be able to separate your brain. And the funny thing is, I used to be able to play piano really well, but for some reason, I didn't find piano as hard as I did drums. Like piano, I could separate things out because I felt like my fingers were still doing very similar things on both hands with the music I was playing. Yeah. But with drums, being able to maintain a really fast beat where one hand is doing completely opposite of the other hand, it throws me so hard. I did drums for, I don't know, maybe like a couple of months when I was a kid because my friend had a drum set. And so I was always over there and he just excelled at it. Like we both were playing on the drums, maybe him a little bit more than me. But like at the end of 3 months, I was like marginally better at best. And he was like literally ready to join a band. So I gave up on it because that's what you do when you're not good at something. You just give up. And you never touch it again, and then you just tell everybody you're awesome at it, and then you go do something else. So then I found things that I was better at, which is like typing 140 words per minute.
Totally used to drum. Yeah, it wasn't my thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cardio and weights are anger management tools? Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I never do weights. I hated weights. I don't know what it was about weights, but I just could never get into weights.
I love lifting heavy things.
Yeah. Did you ever push your? Hey, look at them guns. The gun show. I love it. Did you ever, David? When you were lifting weight though, did you ever lift to failure? Like where you basically need to be spotted and on your last push.
All I did was lift to failure.
you're like just the bar. You're like, oh God, help me!
I
failed to lift.
So for me, that was what it was. You know how you have a runner's high, like people run and then they get the runner's high. I mean, I wouldn't know that because I can't get up to 88 miles an hour to travel through time. So, but anyways, that runner's high, it's like the running isn't what's fun. The people that are addicted to running, it's not the running that they're addicted to. It's the runner's high, right? It's they hit that spot where the endorphins set off, dopamine flood in your brain. You are just literally having like a 2-hour running spree of orgasm. And
you got the music going and you're like, oh, I used to love that.
Yep, and I used to do it on an elliptical because I can't. My knees are too messed up and my back's too messed up. But on an elliptical, I could get that runner's high. It's the only thing other than weightlifting that ever gave me the runner's high was the elliptical glider, and it would take me like an hour being on that elliptical glider, but in hitting the point of almost where my legs are gonna buckle, and then all of a sudden your body, you just get this fuzzy, warm, almost like you drank a bunch of beer really fast. You just get like this warm thing over your whole body, and then all of a sudden you get your second wind, and you just feel great. And I loved that, but you had to work really hard to get to it, right? That hour was torture to get to that Zen moment. The thing I liked about weightlifting is that was almost instant. When I did weightlifting, I would lift to failure. So I'd do my first set, lift to failure, then I'd lower the weight, and I'd lift to failure, and I'd lower the weight, and I'd lift to failure. And each time I'd get to the point where I'd have to be spotted, like literally I'd get down to 120 pounds, and I could not do one rep. But me pushing as hard as I can and literally shaking like a leaf, you just hit this point where your body would just get flooded with like this warm sense of calm. And then as soon as you were done with the lift and you put the bar down, you felt like you weighed like 3 pounds, and you felt like you were just floating around the room. And it was the most amazing sensation ever. And that's what I loved about weightlifting. And it's like, I understand it now. Like when I watch these crazy power lifter guys that are doing like 500 pounds and then they're like almost passing out. It's like the rush they get from that is probably comparable to taking like an illicit substance in a large quantity. Like it's
Well, it is. I mean, it's literally doing the same thing to the brain, right?
Exactly.
Just in a healthy way.
So,
I get bored. I just get so bored. Any exercise, I get bored. And so the elliptical, the only way I could do, that's why I did the burn and learns, was because I knew that if I was good, I could be learning something while I'm doing it. But otherwise it feels like I don't feel like I've got an hour to go and do something else in my day. But if I could include them together somehow, it felt efficient.
Yeah, well, try live streaming while you do it. Do you have an elliptical glider in your house?
I've got an elliptical, yeah. I mean, it is the most creaky old thing. Yeah, you were saying do it live.
Do a live stream of it, man. Like my record on an elliptical glider is over 2 hours continuously, and I did a total of like I think it was 35 miles when I weighed 300 pounds. I did that, and my next record before that was only about an hour. So I more than doubled my previous best in one session just by live streaming while I did it. And when I stopped the live stream, I collapsed off the machine and I couldn't even get my leg out of the, like there's 2 pads, right? And there's like, they're dipped in. And I couldn't even lift my foot high enough to get it off the machine. I had to drag it out sideways and just let it drop. And I had to cool down for about an hour and stretch before I could go get in my car and drive home. But the whole time I was streaming, I felt fine. Even coming up on the 2 hours when I stopped the stream, I didn't stop because I was exhausted. I stopped because it was getting really late, and I was like, oh crap, it's like 11 o'clock. I need to get home.
You did 2 hours on the elliptical, but not at intense rate. Like you're just like walking and talking type thing.
Well, not an intense rate, but like a jog. Not even a walk, like a jog.
Nice.
I don't think I could concentrate on both. I think I'd probably fall off the thing. I guess I could try it.
You should try it because that's the only time I've done that.
I don't want to watch me do that, but at the same time,
everything is content.
Yeah. Everything is content.
There you go. Yeah.
Dude, Krillin remembers when I was streaming at the gym. Yeah, that stream was amazing. Like I could not believe that 2 hours went by because I wasn't paying attention at the time. I was just streaming. Right. And when I stopped the stream, my whole body was like, it just collapsed within like 30 seconds. Like it was weird. It was like all the way up to it. My brain was so preoccupied. It wasn't even like thinking that I was totally exhausted an hour in.
And when did you next get back on the elliptical?
It took about a week. I crippled myself a little bit. I was laid up in bed whining to Miss Barnacules for like 3 days because I jacked up my back and I pulled muscles in my legs. So I'm not saying take it to that extreme, but I'm just saying that it does distract you enough that you're not so focused on the, oh my God, I'm tired. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Oh, my legs are hurting. Oh, this doesn't feel good. Like you're not thinking about any of that because you're so focused on reading people's chats and responding to them while you're doing it that you just don't even remember. Like after a while, you just forget that you're even on the elliptical. Your body is just in its pace, and you just sit there and talk.
I mean, that seems that adds even one more thing to the list of things being done, right? So you could be you could be streaming, exercising, and potentially even getting some of the learning stuff in there as well. That might be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do like a Tuesday chat like that or something.
Yeah, or like Beat Saber live streams. I've only done like 2 or 3 Beat Saber live streams in my life, and every single one of them I played Beat Saber for well over an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I normally only play it for no more than 30 minutes before I'm so exhausted, my back hurts so bad I can't do anything. And I was able to go like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so it's crazy how much just being distracted by people allows you to do, and it makes time go by so much faster. That's the other thing is like
we should do like a tech talk and we're all on different machines.
We totally should just a tech talk elliptical.
How's the frame?
That'd be funny.
There you go.
Yeah, Krillin 64.
Like an exercise day or something.
Actually, you know what? I need to start doing something because I'm failing fast here. Like I've got an appointment. I have to go see a pain doctor now here in a couple of weeks. Because my doctor said that, there's literally nothing they can really do for my back other than pain management. So now I got to go see like a real pain doctor, and I managed to make it 12 years without having to see a real pain doctor. So that's a little scary. So I'm not really excited about that because
MyFitnessPal, do the MyFitnessPal thing, man. It's the only way I've ever shed any weight.
It's
of
really
any
nice.
amount.
Yeah, you have to be strict about like tracking. It's calorie counting, right?
Yeah.
So, but
and I'll skip days.
Have
if there's
to
a day, like a day that I eat all like total crap, I'll just ignore that day. But you know.
Yeah, no, it's about progress, right? Not perfection. You're gonna miss some stuff or overeat, or whatever.
I've lost more weight in my lifetime than I weigh. That's how many times I've lost huge amounts of weight, and it was always predicated on some kind of bet, some kind of competition, because I was always competitive. Every time I did my weight loss, the only time it wasn't competitive was when I went on keto after I got the blood clot in my chest, and even then I lost 46 pounds in 3 months. So when I went in and saw my spinal doctor, he's like, holy shit, I didn't think we were going to get results this good. It ended up messing up all my joints, though, because I had a uric acid problem. And I couldn't do it anymore.
I feel like it's not even the losing it is the problem as much as maintaining is the hardest thing in the world.
That's the hardest.
It's not like, kicking meth or anything where you just stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just not that I have any experience with that. But or even, alcohol is a good example. That's an easy one just to stop. I mean, in my mind, it's easy. You just go like, oh, I just don't drink. Or cigarettes, same thing. You just don't stop. But eating, you have to go like, okay, I have to eat. I'm hungry. Yeah. Now I have to choose the right things to eat. That kills me.
It's like somebody saying, well, you can smoke a cigarette, but you can only smoke half of it, and it has to be like a certain kind of cigarette. And you're like, and it's the one you don't like. And it's like, okay, so technically I can stave off the starvation, so to speak, or the craving. But at the same time, it's like you're never being satisfied. So you're stuck in like this little purgatory. And that's why you have to keep yourself entertained. That's every time in my life I've gained the most weight, it's been when I've been sedentary and not engaged. Mm-hmm. Like even when I was programming at Microsoft, like I'd go in for 12 hours a day. I wouldn't even go to lunch. I just skipped lunch like 4 or 5 days during the week. I wouldn't even eat breakfast. I'd drink coffee all day, and then I'd go home and have a big dinner, and I'd eat like once a day, which is really bad. You shouldn't do that.
And before you go to sleep too.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd end up still losing weight, even though I'd eat a huge dinner before I went to bed. I still was losing weight because all day, every day, I'm just sitting there going 1,000 miles an hour and then eating one meal a day. And I didn't notice because I was so ingrained in what I was doing. And that still to this day happens. I
used to just not eat. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But then I was also completely different metabolism, right? As soon as I got into my like late 20s, I was like, weird. Look at that.
Yeah.
It was completely different. I was sort of almost like jealous of the people who had to work at it when they were younger, because they build up a habit of keeping the weight off from the very beginning. Whereas like people like me who were like, I was like a rail. I could eat whatever I want, do nothing for weeks, and I'd still like just like a toothpick. And then all of a sudden it changes, and you're like, you're still doing whatever you want, eating whatever you want, and you're not a toothpick anymore. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
I just saw the funniest tweet. Somebody tweeted, I wish I lacked critical thinking skills. Y'all seem so happy.
Wow.
That's great. I just thought
it's the lack of critical thinking skills. That's what does it for us.
I think it's an application of critical thinking, because I choose the things to worry about, the things that are within my control to be concerned over. And that makes me much more, I have to be critical about the things that I care about, the things that I put effort and thought into. And there's
wish I could.
It's a struggle, because I still have those like invasive thoughts of worry and anxiety and things that aren't real, and I have to be conscious and critical of like, is this something I should be worrying about? Is this a real thing, or is this like, am I making up something? And
I'm beating myself up about stuff. That's my biggest issue. Is I just beat the crap out of myself on things.
Oh yeah, same. When I fail, or if I disappoint somebody, or I don't meet a deadline, or I'm not as far along on a project as I'd like, but like, it's okay, right? Progress, not perfection. It's I something at least, right? Like, I streamed Tuesday and Thursday this week like I planned, so that's pretty good. I was late, but I did it.
You did it, yep.
It is interesting though, isn't it? That gives you, it does just those little things that you can do to make yourself to sort of reward yourself for it in a way. Like I feel like it's very easy to sort of spiral out and go, you know what? I didn't do that, so now I won't do anything.
I think I like to think of it as like, would I say this would I say what I'm thinking to a friend?
Mm.
If a friend of mine were
If I had a friend.
or if my lady, like if she were having this problem and saying these things to me, what would I say? How would I respond to that? And you have to be your own best friend.
Yeah,
man. You can't be your enemy. Like, that's not cool.
That's a tough one to stop, though. Now you're venturing into like that territory of like some things that people don't really have control over. To a certain degree, or I should say, they could have control over it, but they just don't at that moment.
Right.
And one of my biggest problems I talk to my therapist about all the time is that I know exactly what I need to do to be successful. I know exactly what I need to do. But then in the moment when I'm depressed or when things are going downhill, all that goes out the window. Like, no matter how much I can critically think or I can focus on that moment, once I'm in that moment, it's like the shields are down and then everything goes out the window. And then right after that, I regain the ability to know that I did the wrong thing or I didn't do anything when I should have done something. And that's my biggest struggle is like from the outside looking in, I play devil's advocate to myself all the time. It's like, I sat down and wrote a plan, how to make $1 million in 6 months that I 100% know would work. Why am I not making $1 million in 6 months? Because
I'm happy to read that for you. If you
I'll send you a copy. So it's like, I know exactly what I need to do that. But then when I'm feeling depressed and I'm feeling down, none of that makes sense in that moment.
That's it.
And therapy has been really, really helpful in that department because you start to understand like how you can look at things objectively from the outside when you're in a good state of mind and a good frame of mind and you're relaxed and you're thinking. But when you're tense and you're depressed and you're stressed out and there's a lot of things going around you basically switch over into this fight or flight mode and you start being like really hard on yourself, hard on the people around you. You start being defeatist that like nothing, this can't happen, this can't happen, this can't happen. And then, but when you're feeling good, then that all goes away. But then you start to like engage on the things and the habits and stuff that make things better. And if stuff doesn't
do everything.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And then it just all like starts falling apart again. And so the biggest problem is, when I started my therapy session, my therapist would be like, well, hey, when this happens, just do this, this, and this. And I'm like, you don't understand. That makes perfect sense now, but that will make no sense when the bad thing is happening.
Yeah. And it I don't know. It definitely takes practice. I find it almost like a self-hypnosis kind of thing. It's like, because like, yeah, I can understand, and there are times where like those negative thoughts will kind of overwhelm and take over.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. There are like almost physical triggers that you can do, or that I've found helpful, at least. Let me say that, because obviously it's different for everybody. But
dude, my Kleenex bill's through the roof already, bro. Come on.
Not like that, but like I don't know. It's just like I said, it's almost like a self-hypnosis sort of a thing where like I can like I'll chop through the air or clap my hands or make a weird sound with my mouth or whatever to interrupt the thought. And like that's part of I think that's the helpful part is interrupting it, because it can get away from you. And if you can just have a brief moment to stop and wait, is this what I want to be doing right now? It can help to slow that runaway train.
Yeah,
I have found.
No,
it's
I
really
actually
difficult.
Yeah,
it is really, really hard. Yeah, it's so easy to say, but no, it is not an easy thing at all.
It's one of the things I've loved about acting is that I feel like you can't, like, look, I will get very, I can get very grumpy, I can get very depressed, I can get very happy on set, but the reality is knowing that I have to be there means that there's a certain level of approach to life that I'm forced to have when I'm on set. And I think that's one of the reasons why I find it feels like the place I belong, because I feel like those interactions, all that stuff, there's a certain amount of force, you have to force it to some extent some days. Like some days you come in, you're like, I do not want to talk to 150 people. Like I've woken up, I had a bad night, we had a fight or whatever. You have to show up on set, there's 150 people there who are all going to say good morning to you, who are all going to, and some days you're like, I don't know how I'm going to face this like small talk, but the reality is you do. And I found that, I think for me, that's probably part of my addiction to acting, was that you are forced into a mode that you wouldn't normally be. When you're not working, that's when I struggle with it, because you go like, then I have the choice never to leave the house. Then I have the choice just to wallow. And that's why this stuff to me is invaluable. I think the the biggest thing I've got from this is just a sense of purpose to the days between acting, which is exactly what actors struggle with, right?
Yeah.
So
I think acting is a very hard thing. Like that's something that I've never been good at.
In a way,
we're literally acting now, right? Because we're not, you're not gonna truly. I mean, you can be truthful, but there's still a level of performance to anything you do. As soon as you step out of the house, you're performing.
Yeah, the masks that we wear.
Yeah, that's fair statement.
There's like the 3 masks that we all wear. There's the one we present to the world, the one we present to the people that are close to us, and then the real mask that only we see. And
so what you're saying is we're all basically serial killers, but just nobody knows. Everybody's a serial killer, but nobody knows.
It's I don't know. Did
I just out myself?
Like some Tech Loose says, look at any retail worker. It's total truth. That's a total truth. Anybody who's ever worked in a service industry or a customer facing position knows exactly what I'm talking about. There is a switch that you flip in your brain that puts you into customer service mode, and that is not the same person that you are when you're at home.
That is absolutely true.
It doesn't make you, I mean, it's
the same as not cursing in front of your grandma. It's like there's a certain aspect, a facet of your personality that you show to different people, and that's totally okay, because we're not all just 3-dimensional either. Like we're all very multifaceted and different depending on the audience that we have.
I don't think I've ever really thought of it that way, but no, I guess you're right. Like you're not going to go in to get a loan for your house and like sit down and tell the guy, hey man, like, check out this great site that I found over here.
I'm so high right now.
Yeah, exactly. Hey bro, man, I got so drunk for coming here. I'm just going to level with you.
Yeah. I suck at finances. So lend me some money. Yeah.
So there are situations where you definitely have to act, right? Like no matter what, like it's even if it's not something you're consciously doing, you're still acting.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, and the acting is really just technique, right? It's just about learning the technical side of how you can get those across to people. Those are the skills that people don't have. They're just not used to cameras and crews and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm very curious to see is what's going to happen with this generation that's growing up with cameras on them all the time.
Oh God.
But they have no respect for the camera. I don't mean in respect. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean there's nothing out of the ordinary to have a camera pointing at them.
Right.
That changes everything, right?
Oh yeah,
it does.
It does. It's I don't know. I think that it definitely makes you conscious of, again, the faces that you put out there. Like all it takes is like a weird clip, cut and posted out of context, and now suddenly you're a racist. And it's like, well, you're missing the first 3 minutes of that, where like I was joking around with my buddies, and
same thing happened to me too. Yeah.
It's like, man, and I think if at some point it becomes you kind of stop thinking about it, you just realize that like in certain spaces around certain people, I can only do certain things, and that's just the truth of it. Like, and that's still true 20, 30 years ago. Again, it's like if I'm hanging out with my work buddies, I know that I can't talk about certain topics. If I'm hanging out with guys I grew up with in high school, I can talk about other stuff, and I can trust them not to hold that against me or spread that around and things like that. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it increases the awareness of it, and I think you're a little bit more hyper vigilant than you would have been as like me as a kid. The kids these days now have to be more conscious of what they're saying to who and on what platform, where, and am I being recorded right now? Did I send some jokey racist tweet, or in a group message did I, hey, what's up buddies, or whatever, insert whatever,
and just stuff that gets misconstrued as well. It's so easy in this sort of in the sort of the rapidity of how quickly you can get stuff out there that you sometimes just don't think things through. I mean, I do now, very much so, because I'm overly paranoid about it. I've just seen so many things go wrong. Yeah. But at the same time, I also know that if I'd had a camera on me the entire time I was growing up, Jesus, I know this stuff that's out there. I've said and done absolutely stupid things.
Yeah, same here.
both as a kid and as a drinker. So I mean, so
I think you kind of have two paths. You either become hyper vigilant and protective and conscious of what you say and do, or you accept that you are going to make mistakes. There are going to be ridiculous consequences for them, and some people, no matter what, are just going to hate you because somebody put out a thing or exposed you in a way.
Yep.
Look at all these celebrities that try to be canceled and stuff. They're still going to have fans no matter what.
Yeah.
Like maybe they did say something stupid 10 years ago, but like, you apologize, you try to do better, but no matter what, I don't know. I see it often enough in different angles, like James Charles and, what's this other guy? He does like conspiracy theory videos and stuff, but like they'll dig up tweets from 10 or 15 years ago or old video clips from where he was being kind of a raunchy butthead. And it's like, dude, he's not the same person. I'm not the same person. If you go back and watch some of my early streams, I said and did things and this wasn't even that long ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, where I should have been more aware, but like, I'm not the same person. I've learned from that. And like, you can't hold that against me now. Like, that's messed up.
I feel like chronology has been lost.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic Robin Williams quote, which I just looked up, which is, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind always. I thought that's just such a great, because it's true. You just don't know where it's coming from. And that's, I think, if anything, I worry. I mean, there's the whole sort of cancel culture thing, which again, I think we do have to be. We have to be responsible. We have to be smart. We have to start considering what we say and potentially reconsidering some of our both our language and our approach to life for sure. But at the same time, I think you've also got to understand where some of this stuff comes from, and because if by trying to fix this stuff we split each other up even more, then it doesn't help anybody, right? So
I feel like we eventually hit a point where it's like there's nobody that's cancel proof if we head down this road.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah, like there's nobody that is. Another thing is, like you said, we're really grateful. We're grateful because we didn't have cameras. Nobody could even afford cameras and stuff when we were kids. We were running around like throwing rocks through windows and flipping off people driving by and yelling "you fucker," and stuff because you thought you were hot shit because you were 13 years old walking on the side of a street. And it's like none of that stuff's on camera. But if it was on camera today, even if you're 40 years old and that shit just popped up out of the blue, you'd have a bunch of people that wouldn't take into account how long ago it was, what lessons you learned from that. Like none of that would matter to them. They would just go after you for it. Yeah. Well, and what I try to do is I try to look at the chronology of something. If somebody was a bad person and they're still a bad person today, then yeah, by all means, kick them in the nuts. Right. But if they were a bad person and they grew from it and they learned from it and they became a better person and now they're an advocate for something that they were once an enemy of, that is a great thing. That shows progress. And if you punish that progress, you're going to ruin any chance of anybody else following that. And if you never feel that you can do better than your worst, you have no incentive to do it. So that's my biggest fear is if you are only as good as the worst thing you've ever done in your life, you will never be able to grow beyond that and become better and be rewarded for that. And therefore, why would you? Right?
And you have to believe that people can change, because if you don't believe people can change, then there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I've seen lots of people change.
It's there was a great speech that Obama did at one of these university things, and he was saying that the things that a lot of the younger generation doesn't understand is that that good people do bad things and bad people do good things. Yeah, and it's just not clean. It's not as simple as a bad person, a good person. And again, obviously we're not saying it's okay to do bad things. I think, in fact, that's one of my
mistakes happen.
One of my issues with the whole Christianity thing is it's like, so I can do bad things as long as I say sorry before I die, I'm fine. I think the point here is that people make mistakes. I don't think anyone or very few people seek out are trying to be evil. They think what they're doing is the right thing for themselves or their situation or whatever. But it's that being able to step back and go, hey, how does this fit into the scheme? Like, how do I look at this from their perspective? That's the hard thing to do.
Oh yeah,
and something that I find myself doing more and more now. That I was terrible at before. I generally just judged.
Just assume benign intent. Like you can't.
That's good.
Like something recently that just came up in my life is like, oh, if somebody I don't know. And I don't want to get into the details of that, but just that's kind of the core aspect of it is like try not to take so many things so personally. Like most, like you just said, David, most folk out there are good people who are genuine, who don't, they're not evil, horrible, mustache twisting bad people. But some
like us.
But it's just I don't know. Just most people don't intend to hurt others generally. I
in the majority sense, yeah.
Most people just honestly, I think, and I think I've said this before too, is this, I think most people are apathetic. They don't have the energy to be evil. They're just trying to make it through the day. They're just trying to do the best they can in the situations that are presented to them. And sometimes you're going to step on toes. Sometimes you're going to bop somebody in the nose. Yeah. And I don't think people are trying to hurt others or trying to step on the backs of others to improve themselves. They're just trying to do the best they can every day.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like there's a tendency to sort of sit back and judge, like because social media allows you to step back and go like, aha, look what you said. There's almost like a feeling like you're doing something without actually doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no, because I do think that one of the other things there is that, as we know, doing nothing can be just as evil, right? I mean,
sure.
It's one of the things, following Barnacules' example, like I felt like I needed to speak out politically because I suddenly realized, wait a second, if I don't say anything, then I'm basically complicit here. Like it's not
sure.
Well, people will just imprint their shit on you. That's what I found out too. Is they'll just put their stuff on you, right? And they're like, "Oh, he agrees with me."
Feel the same way.
Yeah,
they assume you feel the same way. And in many cases, I'm guilty of stepping back on that stuff and just sort of going like, "Look, I'm just not gonna. I don't want to get into this type thing." But
it ties to the digging up old past stuff. Like at some point though, like you could play it safe as much as you like, but at some point have to draw a line. You have to say your opinion. You have to have an opinion, or what's the point? I just saw recently, like it was some article about the age of the apolitical influencer is over. Like you have to say something about, otherwise are you even like a real person?
Yeah.
If you don't have an opinion, you're just basically it's all a show anyways. Yeah.
And I've started to kind of get more into that myself in little ways, like with tech stuff and whatnot. I don't touch on politics as much as maybe I should, but like
that's a loaded gun.
Well, with the tech bandits, it's really tough too, right? Because some of the kids will just launch into the stuff if they want to. I mean, they've got and it's very black and white to them.
Sure.
But the black and white perfect example, like if I can get stuff about Black Lives Matter or and get the sort of the people of color issues to them in a tech way, it's great because you can sort of point out that there's ways that this technology is not working in a vacuum. There are political and societal aspects to all of this technology as well, which I think is important because a lot of the kids who like my generation grew up just worrying about the tech, not about the effect that tech has on.
I don't think anybody considered that in the beginning. I don't think anybody thought the internet was going to be what it is today, and it's just this huge like information highway that's moving so fast that nobody even has a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what's going on. Like half the time, like when I have to stop myself constantly now, especially because, the larger audience you have, the more stuff's coming at you all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so I have to stop myself now because I'll get random tweets and stuff that are just completely inaccurate, conspiracy, off the deep end, nothing tangible about it. But
sorry, I'll stop sending them.
But it fits, but it fits the narrative. Like it fits the narrative. So I'm like, oh, I could totally see that being true, and I have to stop myself and be like, oh, I need to actually go do due diligence and look at this because if I perpetuate that, it's going to create a problem, and I've done that.
The Coney 2012 thing or whatever it was back in the day, I fell into that. I was tricked by that. Like holy cow, and that's small beans compared to some of the stuff that's going on these days. Like blowing my mind.
I was ready to print the masks made out of that
the Guy Fawkes
doped filament stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it would stop bacteria, which has nothing to do with the virus. So, it's like I was there, man. It's so easy to have this stuff done. You know what I mean? To get
Yep.
like sucked into this stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking about getting sucked in, this has been amazing, but I did promise my wife that I would stick to 2 hours, and I haven't done that.
Well, I mean, you're only 16 minutes over. That's not too bad.
That's not bad, though. Not bad for me.
Hey,
I mean,
but before you run, I have to ask you one quick question because somebody was so nice to tip earlier and ask you a question while you were gone getting coffee. Let me find it here. It was something to do with Stargate.
Any new? I think it was related to the trying to get Stargate back on the television. Any news related to Star Trek? Stargate.
Yes. Do you have any info on the Stargate reboot, David?
No, there's no. The problem is these things come up every so often, and I feel like it's like almost like a bid to just stay relevant. Someone throws out something about, and here's a possible. Look, I think they're always working on getting something going again. If you want to do something kind of fun, I'll say this, because the other thing that's happened recently is I've got a lot of people requesting that I do like a podcast or something and talk about Stargate and all that stuff, and I've sort of been saying no because I feel like I got nothing new to say because it's been a number of years. But what is new that I am excited about is there's Wyvern Gaming is doing an RPG game based on Stargate. And again, I'm not affiliated with it in any way. They're not paying me, nothing like that. I'm a nerd. I like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition based role-playing game. They've just done a Kickstarter and just made like 5 times whatever they were asking for. But again, I'm totally not like, I've just played it. That's all.
Don't worry. You don't have to qualify it. People on here just assume we're all sellouts anyway. So whether it's true or not doesn't matter.
I'm happy for them to pay me, but they haven't yet. But I played a game, and I gotta say, from a Stargate standpoint, to me it was so much fun because it's like you get to write your own episode of Stargate, and it's Stargate, not Stargate Atlantis. And right now they're using, I think it's like the 6th up to the Bible basically covers up to like season 6 of SG-1.
Oh, here we go.
And we're gonna do like a live stream game, and it's gonna be me and David Blue from SGU and a couple other folks, David Reed who's on Gate World. So it should be kind of fun, I think. And again, it doesn't have to be expensive. There's not a lot you have to buy.
Where can they find it? Like if they want to go, do you got the link?
Let me find a link. Let me see. It's Wyvern Gaming, but I don't know if they've got a Wyvern Gaming
Stargate.
Yeah, Ox, if you can find the link, put it in chat, either one of you, so people can go check it out.
Sorry, I don't know what the link is.
Because we got a lot of Stargate lovers in here, man. Like, oh my gosh. You watch the chat, it's like every 10th comment something about Citrus. So
really? Yeah, that's true. Citrus does come up a lot. Well, there's a Kickstarter now where you can actually buy, where you can get like the PDF of the books and I don't know where.
So here's the Kickstarter.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's probably your best bet. That's if there was anything that would help with that.
That's a really ugly link. It's got like some reference stuff.
Sure,
in it. UTM stuff in there, but.
Well, and the weird thing is, so, and I didn't know how this is how it worked, but apparently, I guess Wyvern were given the license to do this stuff because MGM is notoriously horrible about they'll say go do a marketing video for us for your episode, and then their lawyers will then kick you off YouTube, which is what happened to me. Literally, I'm on the show. They asked me to do like a giveaway thing. I posted the video, and then I got a takedown notice from their lawyers because I used Stargate without permission, that kind of stuff. So they are just horrible that way. But I guess these guys have like put their money down, bought the license to use the up to season 6, I guess, and God knows how complicated the rights are on this stuff. I don't know. But I gotta say, I played it. I thought I'll be total McKay. I went in and I played a large green alien warrior because I thought that's what McKay would do. And so it was just, and it's just fun because you're basically writing, and they don't even call them campaigns, they call them episodes. So you're basically writing your own little episodes as you go along. That's cool. So I would highly, highly recommend that. And if you want to, throw some money at the game,
I'm down.
Then I would do that.
Only if I could be a fat Richard Dean Anderson. That's the only way I'm doing it.
You could be anything you want, Barnacle.
I just want to be a fat Richard Dean Anderson. That's it.
We should have a game sometime. We should just do like a do like a Tech Talks.
I would love to do a D&D game for sure.
I suck at it because I haven't played. The last time I played D&D, I was playing against my Commodore 64 because I was too embarrassed to invite my friends to play, and none of them wanted to. They were all too cool. So I wrote a little basic program. My first basic program was a random number generator, and it would pull up random room descriptions and monsters and stuff.
Nice.
That was my introduction to programming. So that was the last time I played. So we're trying to do it now. And they're using like Roll20 and all these like cool new things that they've got. I have no idea I'm like, what do I do? Who am I? And they're like, well, just add this and this. Yeah, do that. So I'm a disaster on it. I think half the fun is just how bad we're going to be at playing the game. So
I'm down for a gaming stream. I'd be absolutely down for that.
That would be so much fun.
That's where you want to kick back with a bunch of drinks, some popcorn, and just like plan on like 3 hours at least of geeking out.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's based on the 5th edition D&D.
Yeah, just let me know what I need. Let me know what I need, and we'll get it set up in advance, and we'll pick a day, and we'll just go. Well,
I'll check with Wyvern because I know that they're eager to obviously to spread the word. I look, this like from an entirely sort of selfish standpoint, what I think would be kind of fun would be to have. I like the idea of the RPG because I feel like that's something that we can bring something new to the franchise, if that makes sense.
Sure.
As opposed to like what happened in an episode 20 years ago or 15 years ago, it would just be so much more fun to be able to like sit around, play these campaigns or episodes, and then you got something different to talk about. I mean, so that's all. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey guys,
keep so much fun.
Yeah, keep an eye out for mods and stuff for other games though. If you find Stargate mods for like Counter-Strike or even like Minecraft or GTA 5 or something like that.
That's a pretty fun one.
I think it'd be fun for us to like do some of that too. Like just go play like Stargate mods. That would be fun in different games. All right, David, get your ass out of here so you don't get in trouble.
Oh yeah, I got it. All right, guys. I'm going to stay married, so I'm married next time we do this.
That's important. That's a requirement actually of the show.
Yeah, that's it. That I remain married. Yeah.
Exactly. It's in your contract now.
Yeah, it's dangerous if I'm not. So yeah, thank you so much, and everybody, chat and all. Thank you.
Of course.
This is always a blast.
It's a great. It's always great.
Highlight of my week, as always. Enjoy. And somebody rent that space.
Do it.
I'll have a couple people already poking me.
There you go. Yeah, that one over there. Rent that space next to the beard. Yeah. And David, if you're ever bored on an afternoon or something, you want to come on the Twitch stream and rage talk about something or play a video game, let me know, man.
You know it. You know it. I'm there.
I'm always looking for something to do.
All right, gents. All the best.
All right, see you, David.
Cheers.
All right, now I'm gonna make. Let's see. I'm gonna move the. I'm gonna make AuxxZillary just full screen. There we go. You're gonna be full screen now, and I'm gonna make me just a little picture-in-picture. Let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. And then I'll just put me up in the corner here. Hold on. For the remainder of the show, you're gonna be full screen. All right. And I'll just sit up here in the corner where I belong. Damn it!
Hey.
Man, this scaling code is the worst. It is so bad. Are you still
using slobs?
I am. I need to get off this.
That's the thing, man. I'm telling you, the Stream Elements version, OBS.live, is so much better.
It is, and I use it for my Twitch stream. Like I just use slobs for this because I have it all set up with the backdrops and plugged in. I need to redo everything though. I don't want to commit to it but I need to. I'm going to wipe my computer. I'm going to set up my NAS. I'm going to wipe out my computer this weekend. Tomorrow, I think I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm going to just back it up and wipe it and restart from scratch and start building everything back.
I was thinking of doing it myself.
Let's do it.
Own OBS and then just you can export the JSON file and then you import it and like it's all set. Everything's done. I actually did it for work. John hosted one of the live streams and I set up all the scenes and stuff ready to go for him, exported a little JSON thing and emailed it to him. He imported it into OBS on his side and it just worked.
It worked good. I think that's something that I need to do. It's just, and I usually reinstall my computer every couple of months. Yeah. It's been a year and a half, dude. Because of everything just going on in my life. I don't think I've ever in my lifetime gone that long without reinstalling my computer. And I've messed up so many things in Windows 10, just testing out things and running weird scripts and deleting register keys and messing with the store and messing with telemetry, that I have a very unstable build at this point. So I need to just start over from scratch and clean it up. Let's hit some topics for the last half hour or so of the show, just so we can say that we did. Before we do that, though, Doherty Harms wants you to try to pronounce his name. Since David's gone, I'll have you try to pronounce his name. It's got the O with the little dots over it. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, the umlaut. I think it's a long vowel sound. So like Dort.
So
is there an E? Is there an
Dort
E?
Harms? There is an E. Yes.
Dorte, maybe.
Dorte or Dor? Is that close? Mr. Dorte Harms, is that close? And thank you for the €5, man. He said, "Hello, David. Can you pronounce my first name?" Dorte.
Yeah, I think it'd be Dort, or actually, you might not stress the T that hard. But
so like Dor, maybe.
Maybe.
He's Dor Harms. Hey, Alan, thank you for the 40 rupees, man. He said, "Zero trust cybersecurity, McAfee at its best." Well, hey, let's start at that then. Let's start at that. So what's the zero trust cybersecurity thing? I didn't even have a chance to even look at it before you recommended it.
I guess it's kind of a security mindset model. The assumption being that even your own internal like networks and devices and stuff are not to be trusted. So like instead of having it kind of like the way I just kind of breezed over the article real fast, the way that I kind of understood it was that even if you have like trusted spaces, they're not allowed, they need to be authenticated at every step.
Okay.
And where did I go with the article? Hang on. I got a different article here. Oh, now I'm looking at haunted places and stuff. I guess I missed it. Where did I? Here, let me try and pull it up into Skype here. Will you paste it into the chat for me?
Yeah, which one do you need?
The zero trust one.
Okay, stand by. Chat. Zero trust. Oh, damn, we forgot to get to the U.S. Army trials for augmented reality on dogs. We will do that next stream, though, because that's when I want David present for.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, let me see. Okay, Vaporware, Hyperloop, and Haunted Places in America. No, I'm still trying to find out one on here. Oh, there it is. Zero Trust Model. I got it. Okay. Stand by. Well, I'm just going to put it in chat for the channel so everybody can follow along. Yeah. All right. There you go.
So I guess the concept basically is you don't trust anything. Even so like the way things work nowadays is like, oh, you have a login and you're trusted across the whole network or whatever. In this sort of mindset is that you authenticate to get into your email or your network, but then you have to authenticate to get into your NAS that's on the same network, right? But then you can only access like the folder that you originally authenticated to. If you needed another folder, you'd have to authenticate again, and it kind of compartmentalizes things. The example they give is say that there's a company that is built from the ground up to be cloud native. Everything is in the cloud and stuff. So you're basically only able to access the things you're allowed to access, because like in a lot of cybersecurity breaks come from like elevating permission and things like that. Like this rooting wouldn't allow you to do that. If you broke into a certain part of the server, you wouldn't be able to get access to other like side lateral moves through the server and things like that.
I see what you're saying. So you're authenticating once per resource instead of a global authentication that gives you access to everything.
Right. Okay. And so it wouldn't, just because you got into this part of the network doesn't mean you're okay to get into another part.
So if one thing gets compromised, you don't compromise everything.
Yeah, it's harder at least to get to other parts of the infrastructure, I guess, if that's the right word, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Because like as an example, my home network, I've had to give the Wi-Fi password to a bunch of teenagers that I don't necessarily trust, and I also don't believe that they are skilled or have the desire to try and access other parts of my wireless network, but they could. Just by authenticating to my Wi-Fi, they could potentially get access to my personal PC. They could potentially get access to my cell phone, my iPad, my whatever.
So are you talking like a security token, basically? Like once you've authenticated, then that token is the secure access to everything instead of you having to like re-authenticate for each resource?
That's that's basic. I think technically that's how it is now. Because they're on the Wi-Fi, they could potentially get access to my PC.
Right.
But But with this zero trust model, just because they got access to the Wi-Fi doesn't mean they automatically get access to everything else that's on the network. They only get so far. They would have to authenticate again, and if they don't have permission there, or they can't break it, they would have to break another level of security or whatnot in order to get further. And every step, it would be another wall, another guard saying, "Hey, are you supposed to be here?"
Yeah, the only thing that worries me with a model like that, though, is the impracticality of like using it on a daily basis, like having to challenge and authenticate with each resource independently over and over and over again, and then not having that trust for any meaningful period of time. I mean, you'd be spending like a huge amount of time authenticating constantly.
I think it could work for certain aspects, like, your accountants only need access to certain data, and so they authenticate to that resource, and that's the only thing they need. When you start getting maybe higher level, where you need your fingers into a lot of different pies, I could see that being.
This almost sounds like security groups. Like in Windows, like where you have a security group, like you have administrators, users, you can create a new security group that says you only have access to Notepad.exe, and then you can only open Notepad.exe, and you can only use it if you're a member of that group. But then that user can be a member of other groups, which means they can access other things, but you have to be in each independent group to have access to that resource.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out like what a zero trust model like really looks like compared to something like that already exists.
Let's see.
Here, let me see what we got here. Zero trust, as the name implies, is a security model where all assets, even managed endpoints that you provision, and on-premise networks configured by you are considered hostile. Oh, okay. So it's more of just a line of thinking. Yeah. So this is less about the implementation. It's just don't assume, basically, like your refrigerator being an LOT device. Assume it's hostile and that's going to send Nigerian mails and it's going to attack shit. Assume your router is going to be compromised. How do you secure your network and your computers? Like, don't assume that you should have access to a computer just because you have access to the network.
Right.
Okay, that part makes sense. Okay, so a zero trust model is literally that. You're not trusting anything no matter what, even if it seems like something that's like, oh, well, if you have access to my router, well, then you're obviously inside of the network. You should have access to everything. But then you have to realize, but that means somebody only has to break one line of security to get everything. But if they come into the router and they break the router and you don't trust anything, and you don't want your printer being able to be used without authentication, you don't want your refrigerator even be able to use without authentication, or at least some kind of authentication token or something. That way they have to keep breaking through wall after wall after wall of security, and there's nothing left. Like, you question everything. Even if you pull something brand new out of box and it connects to the internet, you just assume that device could be compromised and be used for evil. And then so you make sure that there's a security layer on it in addition to everything else. And don't use the same username and password on everything.
Right.
That makes sense. Hey, Nigel, thank you so much. We really do appreciate that support, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. 10 pounds. That's great.
10 pounds,
thank
man.
You.
We like them
better.
pounds. Those pounds are like rich and buttery.
That's good stuff.
It's good stuff,
like,
man.
They mentioned in the article a similar, like you were saying, the disadvantage. Every system and application needs to have policy enforcement. And so that can be a pain in the butt.
Oh, Nigel's message was retracted. What happened?
Oh, there wasn't. I didn't see one initially.
No, it didn't show any message, and this is message retracted. Nigel, hey guys, love the show. Highlight of my Saturday. Thoughts on new AMD versus Intel. Okay, I think that's what he meant to say. Dude, Intel sucks. Like, I mean, can you counter that? Like, what is Intel doing? Like, AMD's new processor now is like kicking the shit out of like everything Intel makes.
So, again, I'm always the patience fairy, right? I don't jump on the hype train. I ride the patience fairy.
Hype train.
So we don't know. We don't know the 5000 series Ryzen stuff. We don't know yet. So, and I'm incredibly suspicious of AMD's marketing stuff. I do not trust anything that
AMD would never lie to us.
They might not lie, but they are notorious for horrendously cherry picking and using benchmarks that are not necessarily applicable. Not unlike what Nvidia just did with the 3000 series, where they're like, "Oh yeah, 8K is possible in Minecraft."
No, that's kind of what my joke was right there. Is like, yeah, with the stuff that's been going on with the video card hype, I'm like, dude, if Ryzen is anything similar to that, like, okay, grain of salt.
So, however, if we assume past performance can be applied to future results, this current generation of Ryzen CPUs is at least equal to Intel's best offerings right now. As far as the consumer stuff, I haven't really looked into like Epic and things like that. They're more server side things. I think they're doing just as well there as but I don't know for sure. But yeah, if they can make this next leap is as good as their previous one, yeah, Intel's gonna need to be doing something. And it really does come around to that 7-nanometer stuff.
I know, that's what I keep going back to. I'm like, dude, they are twice.
It's nuts. Nuts. And I kind of trust AMD with their CPUs now. Like they're probably gonna make good on their claims. It will at least be equal to Intel as it has been.
Honestly, I've seen not a lot of negative press at all on the Ryzen, and usually people are super critical of that shit. So the fact that so many people have it, like the new Ryzen with the PCI 4.0 and stuff, I expected everybody to be like, oh my god, this is all bottleneck, this doesn't work, and oh, it's not as good as Intel, this and this. I have seen nothing. Like people seem to just absolutely love it at face value after using it.
Even at my work, Puget, the only reason the biggest reason, it's not the only reason, but the biggest reason that you'll see us or Puget suggesting Intel over AMD is because Intel has better Thunderbolt support. So if you're moving from like Mac where you have those Thunderbolt devices,
because that's an Intel technology, right? Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
So they're not going to license that to everybody to use as good as they do themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of shitty, but
but that's how business works, though. I mean. Right. Yeah. That's why that's why I'm scared shitless of Nvidia getting a hold of ARM. Like,
it'll be interesting too. I'm really curious how that works out. I could see Nvidia making like some crazy kind of like supercomputer node thing where it's like a ghost trap kind of Ghostbuster thing where they kind of did that with they had like a turnkey machine learning solution. It was like some MX 10,000 or something like that, where it was just a blade essentially.
Yeah.
And it was on its own, but you could jack a bunch of them into a big thing and it'd become even better. I could see, man, that's
dude, ARM is the future. x86 is so played out.
Man, it's insane. I heard recently they've got VMware doing well on ARM now. So like,
dude, I heard that they got x86 emulation working on ARM at nearly the same speed for multi-threaded performance as like a moderate x86 CPU, like bare metal hardware.
It'll be I don't know. It'll be a huge disruption in the computing space for sure. Yeah. It might take a little while for like consumers to feel the effects, but we're on the cusp of a big change. I hope AMD's new graphics card performs at least in the low to mid range. I don't think AMD's got the chops to compete at the like 3090 or Titan level, that super high end.
Yeah.
But I really do hope they start kicking butt in the low to mid range again.
You know what's going to happen though is the cryptocurrency market. They're going to do the same thing with RDNA2 and buy up all the cards. Because still to this day, an AMD card, like the top end AMD card right now, kicks the ever living shit out of even a 3090 for cryptocurrency mining, for watts for mining. So AMD is killing that, but the problem is it hurts them because every time they release a graphics card, all the miners buy every one of them for like 6 months. Nobody gets them, and then no gaming companies like support any of the cool features or optimizations for them because nobody has them.
And they still need to work on their driver support. Like, their drivers aren't that hot.
To be fair, though, Nvidia's drivers are pretty bad. Their graphics drivers have always been notoriously bad. I mean, like, okay, I guess there's that.
It doesn't crash like when I'm trying to do stuff. Like,
yeah, because I switched from AMD. I used to be like Radeon. Remember back in the day, like ATI Radeon? Radeon's drivers were so notoriously bad that's why I switched to Nvidia. Is because like to do iFinity or whatever, which is their Nvidia surround with 2 graphics cards, that shit worked maybe 1 out of 10 times, and I'd spend like 2 hours getting that shit working to shoot like a YouTube video of me playing like, Diablo across 3 screens.
Right.
And I was like, this is such horse shit. And Nvidia's experience for multi-screen sucks too with 2 cards, but it was so much better than what I got from AMD. And I haven't used AMD graphics cards since then. Like, it's been an eon. I have 2 480s. AMD 480 somethings. I got 2 of those I'm going to put in Xander's machine, so that'll be my first experience with a modern AMD GPU, and I'd even say that that's pretty played out, being 4 or 5 years old.
And I don't know. It's weird. It's like, what happened to the Radeon 7? Like, it just disappeared. Like, they were selling it for like 3 months. I don't even think they had proper driver support, and then they just disappeared. Like,
I didn't even know there was a Radeon 7.
Yeah, it's just gone. I don't know what happened. It was weird. They discoed it. Yeah, but it wasn't even out a year. Like, why? What
Plus,
happened?
the cards used to be expensive. You remember back in the ATI days? Like, the cards were more expensive than the Nvidia cards. Because I remember I got two, I think they were the ATI hydrocoppers, something hydrocoppers.
Right.
And each card was like $1,200 for these hydrocopper cards directly from ATI.
Huh.
And they were ridiculously expensive. That's why I got them, because I was trying to build, at the time I was trying to build a system that was like flagship system of the day, and it was a liquid cooled box. And I could not believe how expensive the cards were, but they were nothing but trouble. The entire time I had those cards for like a year and a half, I never had a great experience with them.
Huh.
I've had great experiences with like Nvidia stuff, but generally when you add a second card, that all goes out the window. That's why I'm kind of glad that they're kind of dropping the SLI thing, except for like super performance runs and workstation stuff, because like you don't need it really. And every time you add another graphics card, they can never code it right. It just doesn't work.
They're dropping, like, I think they're dropping the driver support for NVLink. It has to be built into the software now. They're pushing it onto the developers to implement SLI. It's not, I think.
So no benefit unless they implement it themselves, like through the SDK.
So it's dead. It's going to be dead. Like, unless.
Wow.
And again, I think we'll see it in like machine learning and high performance computing and stuff. But as far as games, nobody's going to bother. And they haven't. Nobody really bothered anyway. So, like, who cares? I don't know. That's dumb.
Yeah, and some games would use it, some games wouldn't. Well, and when we're saying NVLink, we're also saying, like, SLI, like gaining performance in a video game with two cards over one. I had some games that lost performance.
Yeah.
I have two 2080 Supers in here, and I was wondering why my scores were like 300 points lower than the people that had one card on the benchmark site. And I go on a forum, and it's like, oh, if you have two cards, you have to disable SLI, because if you enable SLI, it actually slows down the benchmark. I'm like, how does having a second graphics card actually slow it down? That's like how bad their implementation was of it.
Yeah.
Or I should say lack thereof.
It was an interesting concept, but like, and it might make a comeback if we find a weird plateau with performance gains, like with CPUs or something. But it was never a good idea.
Well, I mean, the whole reason why you needed two cards in the first place was because you just didn't have enough PCI lanes from like, a 16x and an 8x slot to get all the bandwidth of two cards. So you'd split it up on the bus. But now you can just create one card with PCI 4.0 that's basically 4 slots tall and like, 4 GPU stacks together with heat pipes and more memory and everything. And it's basically SLI all on one card.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. And we're getting to a point now where, like, heck, just right now, I want to say two 3090s are at least, at the very worst, equal to 4 2080 Ti's, and you're more likely to see like at least a 20% performance gain. So like, again,
you get RTX and Tensor Core too, so you get like complete new functionality doesn't even exist on the previous platform.
It's nuts. I think it's
and the price. What is it? $1,200 for a 3090, for a 3090, and I think, what was it, 1500 when the Titan RTX came out? That was like comparable performance.
I think the 2080 Ti was 15.
Really, the 2080 Ti was 15? Holy shit! I believe it. I mean, that was
the 28. No, I'm sorry, it was $1,000.
$1,000. Actually, $1,000 not bad.
Yeah.
Is that now though, or was that when it came out?
I think that's when it came out.
Okay, because I know the Titan XPs when they came out were $1,500 a pop, because it was $3,000 for two of them. Because I remember when Puget did mine.
You can even find them. They're going for about $1,400 on Amazon. Wow. New and used 2080 Ti. That's a MSI blah 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 2080 Ti.
Well, I was looking at the specs for like the PlayStation 5. And I know RDNA 2 is what's in the PlayStation 5, right? That's supposed to be able to do like 12 teraflops of performance. And I think, what is it? The 3080 that they said is like 14 teraflops or something. It's like, it's a little bit faster than what the RDNA is in the console. But the RDNA in the console is actually pretty severely limited compared to what you could do in a PC card.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that the RDNA card that they would come out would be, you know, vastly more performant than what they put in the consoles already, because those consoles are already built, right? I mean, they're already manufactured and sitting in a warehouse somewhere ready to ship. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of refinements made to it. So I am curious to see what happens, but Nvidia did kick them in the balls because Nvidia did price this generation at what AMD would have priced their cards.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's no fucking way in any other generation you're going to get a 3070 that kicks the shit out of a 2080 for like what is it, $400, $499?
I think so, yeah.
Like that's what AMD would have charged for their card that competed with like a 2080. So
I think they did that for sure. I think they probably sold the 20 series at a premium to kind of build up a cash like pillow, and now they're selling probably less of a margin on this series in order to kind of keep AMD back a bit. Yeah.
Our DNA on consoles is about equivalent to a 2080 Super and raw performance.
That's,
you know what?
amazing.
That's actually not that great when you think about it. It really isn't for a modern console that isn't even out yet.
You're coming at that from a PC perspective. You have to understand with
That's
a console, the hardware is locked, so you can crazy optimize.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you don't have the overhead of an operating system and tons of services and shit running. It's very linear. You
don't have to play well with a bunch of weird devices,
that's
a monitor, and all that stuff. You have control over everything. Plus, it's probably, at least I'm guessing, an AMD processor.
Oh, it is. It's actually a Ryzen. It's literally a off-the-shelf Ryzen.
It's total full control of the hardware, and the software the software developers they don't have to fiddle around. They can hyper focus and squeeze every little bit. Look what they did with the PlayStation 4. Holy crap! The new Spider-Man that came out for PS4 was gorgeous. It's like a 6-year-old console. Like, holy cow, you couldn't get that same kind of stuff on a 6-year-old PC graphics card. No way. So that's amazing. It's 2080 super performance in a new console. That's gonna rock your boxers for sure.
Yeah, I still play Gran Turismo on the thing, and I'm blown away by how it looks. And on not even a PS4 Pro, just the original PS4, it still looks absolutely gorgeous. Runs fantastic. It's pretty You're right. When you take optimization into account, the shit that they're able to do. This next generation console is going to be mind blowing. Pup Shepherd, thank you for the $5. Said video idea competition to make the same intro video. Person 1 uses After Effects, Audition, and Photoshop. Person 2 uses Blender, Audacity, and GIMP. Oh, well, I'm not being person 2. Fuck that.
I have no experience with either. So
I could do Effects, Audition, and Photoshop, but I could not do Blender, Audacity, and GIMP. Yeah. That would be cool though to see open source versus mainstream product. But you need to find two people. Like one, I think it would only be fair though if somebody was an expert in one and an expert in the other, because to show what they could really do, like if you knew what you're doing. Because if you're just a layman going into it, I believe that Photoshop is a much more intuitive program. Premiere is a much more intuitive program. Phil Bayfield, thank you for the five. Is it pounds?
Thank you.
Yeah, pounds. He said in the AMD presentation there were negative performance improvements in some of their numbers.
And they publicized that?
That doesn't seem like something I'd publicize.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a live demo or something and people, they couldn't hide it or couldn't conceal it.
No, I mean, if they did, good for them. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Mr. Random Generator wants to know if I still mine crypto. No, I haven't mined crypto in a very long time. I have a lot of ASICs though. If anybody needs some ASICs, hit me up, man. I'll make you a good deal. I've got probably 10 ASICs and 2 Spawn Dualies, a bunch of Spider S3s, S5 pluses. I mean, I literally have like a pallet of mining hardware, but electricity is just too expensive where I live to be profitable for mining Bitcoin. However, they can mine any currency that's SHA-256. So as long as you got a shit coin that's SHA-256, in theory, it can mine it. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll hook it up and I don't want to run it going into summer, obviously, but if I can hook it up and mine some shit coin and just get a whole bunch of shit coins, like, I mean, that might be a fun thing to try. So maybe I will do that when I clean out my garage.
Barnacoin.
Yeah, but I did actually create. That's another one of the projects that got lost. I actually created Barnacoin. I went and got the source code for Bitcoin. I switched it to Barnacoin. I changed the private key to start the hash and created my own blockchain. And I was going to create a video and get a whole bunch of people just to start mining Barnacoin. And my goal wasn't to ever make it like get on the exchange and be traded at any value or anything, but I was going to use it just to buy crap off my store. And, just so people could like mine in the thing and then just have a leaderboard and stuff. And it was a lost idea. I wish it hadn't been though. It would have been fun.
That'd be fun.
Let's see. Virgin Hyperloop Vaporware. You want to hit that bad boy?
Well, so the vaporware was a bit of a joke because of Tesla or Elon's Hyperloop thing not really going anywhere. But apparently, I didn't know this. Virgin of Virgin Galactic and all Mr. Sir Richard Branson's Virgin company. Apparently, I didn't know this. They have a Hyperloop concept as well, and they are going to build a test facility in West Virginia.
Oh, wow. I heard about the one that they were going to do in Dubai, but I didn't hear about one in West Virginia.
Yeah, I guess they are committed to bringing a safety certification facility as well as a 6-mile tubing system for transportation to West Virginia. I'm
still going to call it Vaporware.
Yeah.
The reason I'm going to call it Vaporware is I've watched so many videos. Even Thunderfoot did a video on this. And he usually hits the mark. Not always, but 99% of the time he hits the mark. The dude's really smart. And he pointed out some flaws that are just really common sense that they can't solve right now.
Yeah.
And that is like the heat soak from the sun and just the ambient air temperature and stuff over a length of pipe that long. Sure. It literally changes the dimensions of the pipe, which normally wouldn't be a problem for like bridges and shit like that. But when you have to maintain a perfect vacuum or a near perfect vacuum, it's so hard to do that.
I think... honestly, I don't know. I haven't been keeping my finger on the pulse of this, but the vacuum or even near vacuum thing is outrageous. There's no way. The thing to do would be more bullet train style.
Yes.
Which again you could or pods, some sort of hyper fast pod where
instead of a vacuum, go positive pressure. Put a huge positive pressure wave behind the damn thing like a bullet and open up the other end. Open the valves on the other end. That some bitch is going to fly.
Little canisters that you see like to move documents and stuff around.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, why not scale that up?
Yep.
And but instead, I don't know, man. I feel like something along the line of like a maglev sort of a deal, like a long series of rings that stretch along the whole tube, and they just,
like magnetic or
like so that's kind of how like maglev bullet trains work. They have a series of electromagnets and they switch back and forth, positive negative, really really fast. And so like one side is pulling the train for half a second while the other side is pushing it.
And they go
and then there's a whole series of them. And you just do that
because those things do, like, I think at top speed they can do 300 miles an hour, right? So they're like, that's like top fuel dragster.
Yes. And so heck, it would take longer than an airplane, but like I imagine cheaper. A railgun, in a sense, kind of a controlled railgun. You just don't have a hole at the end. It just loops back around. And
what scares me about maglev though is what if you had a power failure like on the grid and the backup failed, the thing just dropping on a metal track at like 300 miles an hour?
It's kind of the other way. The power requires it to stay open, right? If the power fails, it'll close. It'll slow down and it won't just collapse.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so there's something in contact with the train,
similar to how like elevators work, right? If the power fails,
I gotcha.
Brakes activate.
So the power's pulling them apart, and then the second it fails, those are going to engage a physical track and slow the thing down.
Yeah, some people are saying that they drops on extra wheels, which makes sense. Yeah, it would have to engage. So it'd have to be like positive, like power on keeps the system open, power off slows you down no matter what.
Still, there's not a lot of tires that do well at 300 miles an hour. like literally the Bugatti like is $40,000 worth of tires for like 4 tires that can stop or accelerate at that speed.
I imagine it wouldn't be rubber. It would probably be some sort of ceramic composite or something.
Yeah. Probably like aluminum wheels or something like that.
I feel like we need another kind of mega project like I know I've said this in previous streams. We need another mega project like the highway system was.
Yeah.
You put thousands and thousands of people to work, whether it's just something as simple as digging ditches, but we dump a ton of money into a massive infrastructure project, and it would be a high-speed rail system of some sort, whether it's a Hyperloop sort of concept or a bullet train sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just think that it would revitalize a lot of different aspects of the country.
Yeah, I just feel like the Hyperloop is one of those things where it's just like technology should be as simple as it can possibly be to achieve its goal. Like, even if your goal is to go really, really fast, like you should always value simplicity over complexity, because complexity, more things can go wrong. And when I look at the Hyperloop, I'm like, what is the most complex solution to a problem? Because one, you have to have human life inside of a vacuum tube. Like, what happens if the edge breaches on that? Like, they'd have to blow valves to like rapidly pressurize the pipe, and that's going to do damage to shit.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the whole vacuum thing is viable.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We have proven technology when it comes to things like bullet trains and stuff. You could just do little bullet shaped capsules and just run them through the air. Like, that's fine. Like 600 miles an hour is pretty damn fast. Like, you can do that.
Yeah, I think that I like the idea of just like pressurizing it like a bullet.
Sure.
Because then it doesn't matter. Let the tube, like, it can leak like a sieve. It doesn't matter. You can build up shit. I mean, they have wind tunnels. They generate like 300-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm pretty sure that you could like pressurize a pump with, fucking 500 PSI that's in a giant tank the size of a building, and then just ramp that shit up into the pipe slowly, and like a bullet, that thing just picks up speed. And then when it starts getting to the end of the thing, you just blow some relief valves on the tunnel, let the excess pressure blow out like the compensator at the end of your rifle, and the thing just like slows down and you're good to go. Plus, it would sound badass. I think that would just be cool. Like, you'd be in there, oh my god, hyperspeed! Hear air blowing all around you and all the turbulence and everything. Like, it'd probably feel cool too.
I think it'd be cool. I definitely. I think there is something to be done there. We need something like that. I think it'd be super cool. There's no reason not to. It'd be, and it could just follow the same basic routes as the major highway system. I-5, I-90, what's it, like 45, I think. Or what is it? The one that runs from like Chicago south to wherever, 60 or something. It doesn't matter. We have a system, a grid already set up all around the country, and you could probably add more even.
You have the space above the freeway and you have the space below it, right? So if you're willing to bore tunnels and you're willing to build like a monorail above it, it's like you could put two completely different transportation systems over the existing ones without using any more like lateral space. I think that's kind of cool. Right. But like you said, we just have to throw a lot of money at it and do it. But we have so many good technologies that can already do it. It's like, even at 300 miles an hour with a maglev train, as long as it's safe, it's still going to get you places. I mean, because you have to go to the airport, you have to go through security, you have to do all this shit to get on it and everything. It's like, if it's just a public thing where you could just walk up and step onto it like a bus and just it whisks you away to somewhere, like, I think people would be okay with it being a little slower. It's like why Concorde failed, right? It's like, it was too expensive. There wasn't enough people that wanted to pay $9,000 to get there like 2 hours earlier. They were just like, fuck it, I'll just read a book or watch a movie and save $8,500.
Right.
So, all right.
I hope it becomes a thing.
Yeah, totally. Hey, Phil, thank you for the £5. We appreciate that support. He said in the AMD presentation. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry, the negative performance in AMD. You guys, I think we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up. We're approaching our cutoff time at 3 hours. Trying to be a little bit more punctual. That was awesome that David joined us today. He may join us again next week. Be sure to reach out to AuxxZillary if you want to rent his space.
Yeah.
There in the background.
Also, hype. I am back streaming on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock Pacific.
Oh, looky! 8 o'clock. That, you know what? That's, I may actually be able to rate you at some point.
Nice.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to work on those numbers, because I usually cut off around like 7, but I might be able to push an extra hour for you.
Nice. Okay, that'd be cool.
See if I can get you some of that raids.
Yeah. Working on Baldur's Gate 3 now.
Huh?
So we're working through Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, sweet, man. I haven't played games in so long. As a matter of fact, today I promised my son I'm going to go play some Gran Turismo with him and hook up the little steering wheel and do some laps with him. But that's going to require a lot of pain medication, because my back is like, ow! But, it is what it is. Guys, thank you for everything. Make sure that you're following us over on Twitch. We both stream independently and do our own thing when we're not on here every week. But we are here every week. 10 a.m. Pacific time, same bad time, same bad place, /Barnacules 1 on YouTube. Make sure that you guys are hitting that subscribe button so that you know and get a notification when we stream. You don't have to stumble in here halfway through the show and wonder what's going on. Yeah. David, it was awesome he hung out. He can come in anytime he wants. So anytime that he has free time, you can expect him to show up on the show because we just have a great time together, and it is good times. And next time you see the show, things might look a little different because I'm thinking about blowing away my computer and redoing everything, my stream deck and everything from scratch, because honestly everything is so fragmented. So things may look a little bit different next week. We'll see how things go. And in the meantime, check the video description for everything. You can find us on Twitter. That's our most active social network. You can find us on Twitch. That's our most active streaming now is on Twitch. Yep. This we do once a week. On Twitch, we do multiple streams. So make sure that you're following over there and you got notifications enabled so you know when we go live. And on that note, thank you for all the support, everybody. We appreciate that. The chat revenue is what we actually split between each other every week so that we can we can buy things and have a good life. So thank you for that, guys, and we will see you next week. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye. 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 Let me push all the buttons.